Hello, everyone, and welcome back. As always, I'm your girl, Candy Washington. And before we dive into today's Kiki, which is just going to be a really fun Real Housewives of Beverly Hills tea session, we're just going to go through everything that's happening now in the news with them. I think it'll be really fun just to do a fun, lighthearted Real Housewives of Beverly Hills catch up. But before we do that, I wanted to remind you guys that we also do self care, self love, and wellness content on my channel. So check out those videos. And we also have tons of courses, podcasts, and movies and everything else down below in the description box. So definitely check that out if you're interested. So with that, let's dive right on in. So let's first start with dun 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 dun. Okay, let's first start with Kyle Richards defending Gwen Stefani's racist and tone deaf "I'm Japanese" claims. And then it'll also talk about Jessica Chastain and Real Housewives of Miami star leasing her house and all of her tattoos and all the other crap that's going on with Kyle, who I think is having some type of post midlife crisis, some type of anxiety breakdown, some type of my husband is allegedly smashing my best friend situation. Kyle's kind of going cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, guys. But let's dive in. So, this is according to Reality Blurb. It says Kyle Richards defended Gwen Stefani in the comment section of an Instagram post after seeing that the No Doubt singer and sometimes coach of The Voice had caught backlash for telling Allure magazine she's, quote, Japanese. After Gwen, 53, who was born to Italian American and Irish American parents, insisted she's Asian after her 2004 Harajuku Lovers collection was described as cultural appropriation. The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member reacted to the many who were quote offended by the claim. Side note, Kyle, shut up. I haven't even gotten to your quote yet, but shut up. First of all, why do you need to weigh in on what's going on with Gwen Stefani? Are you and Gwen Stefani friends? Highly doubt it. Was what she was talking about with appropriating Asian Japanese culture, does it have anything to do with you, Kyle? No. So why are you weighing in and chiming in? Just shut up, Kyle. This is what this twat had to say. She said, everyone can't wait to be offended by something, Kyle wrote via page 6 in an Instagram comment on Wednesday after Gwen told Allure, I'm Japanese and I didn't know it. First of all, Gwen Stefani, I actually used to like you until this quote, and then doubling down on the quote. Sweetheart, you're not Japanese. You're not. And I'm really tired of musicians and actors and whatever appropriating cultures. We see it every day with Erika Jayne. She appropriates the gay culture. She appropriates Black culture. But the problem is you can participate in a culture. Like, it's fine for Gwen Stefani to, be inspired by Japanese culture. That's fine. You can participate in a culture. Appropriation is when you don't honor and respect the culture that you are benefiting from, and you also do not sew back into that culture. Like, did she donate to any Japanese charities or anything like that? Does she respect the Japanese women, or does she just appropriate their culture for clout and gain? Miley Cyrus did that. She appropriated Black culture. She got what she wanted, and then she went back to being a country weirdo, whatever the hell she's doing over there. Anyway, let's keep going. During the interview, Gwen described herself as a little bit of an Orange County girl, a little bit of a Japanese girl, a little bit of an English girl. Gwen, shut up. Before her rep attempted to come to her defense, first telling the publication the journalist misunderstood and later refusing to say anything on record. Right. Sorry. You didn't want to say anything on record because you knew your client was messing up. I'm sorry, but saying I'm Japanese, girl, bye. As Real Housewives of Beverly Hills fans will recall, Kyle learned an important lesson about racial undertones and stereotypes from castmate Garcelle Bouvet amid season 11 after she accused the series' only full-time Black cast member of failing to make a pledged $5,000 donation to her charity. Would you have said that to one of the white women? Garcelle asked in the 2021 episode. I feel like it was weaponized toward me being a Black woman. There's stereotypes that people think we don't pay our rent and that we don't tip. Boom. And then an appearance on Amazon Live earlier this week, in addition to addressing Lisa Rinna and Diana Jenkins' exit from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Kyle answered questions from fans and confirmed that Sutton Strack isn't the only famous person who leased her Bel Air mansion. Jessica Chastain did lease my home in Bel Air, and it was so funny when she said it on Watch What Happens Live because people were very intrigued by that. Larsa Pippen also leased my house for a while with her family, and then Sutton did, so this house gets around, Kyle shared. She then responded to a fan who wanted to know how many tattoos she has. Sorry. I have 4, Kyle revealed. Some people only know about 3 because I got a 4th one, but no one's noticed. It's 2 arrows, crossed arrows. I wanted to get another one on my birth date, which is 1/1, but I just haven't told anybody yet. Okay, a couple of things. Isn't it really funny how she has Jessica Chastain's name in her mouth, trying to get some clout like, oh, she leased out my house? But Jessica Chastain, also on Watch What Happens Live, was windmilling for Lisa Vanderpump to come back. Girl, Kyle, even your own tenants don't like you. Even your own tenants are gunning for LVP. Kyle, just stop with the mess. Kyle did end up getting the other tattoo, and I'll show it to you guys in a second, okay? Okay, but let's keep going. As for the possibility of participating in the 2nd season of the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, Kyle, who initially appeared in season 1, said she doesn't know if she'd be open to the idea because the hours were insane. Also during the appearance, Kyle responded to the success of husband Mauricio's new show, Buying Beverly Hills, and addressed a possible season 2. Listen, girl, stop lying. I don't think Buying Beverly Hills was a success. There was boycotts for it. Who watched it? It was boring as hell. It was honestly, it wouldn't have been so bad if it was on like MTV or like Nickelodeon. Because their daughter, Alexia, allegedly this chick is 26 years old, but she acted like she was 15. Like when you talk about Arrested Development, it's real. This girl is like 4 years from 30, and I really, really thought she was like a 15-year-old. Like it was bad. And that was not, and the show I don't think was a quote success. And Netflix wasn't even marketing it. The only places that was marketing Buying Beverly Hills was the same exact places that was marketing Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. It was only on E! News, which is owned by NBC. And it was only on like Reality Blurb and Us Weekly and stuff like that. And every time that they would talk about it, the only thing they talked about was Kathy Hilton and Kyle and the girls from Beverly Hills. A success and a possible season 2 hasn't been greenlit yet. Girl, bye. Dun, 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 dun. She goes, I'm really happy that people love the show because that was very scary for me. I was not into the idea of my girls doing a reality show with all the stuff that I go through, but they really came through shining, she stated. You could see they're smart and they're together and they're good girls. Thank God. Then again, that's season 1. You never know what could happen in season 2. Kyle, shut up. Kyle, just shut up. Just shut all the way up. And this is the thing. Kyle's eldest daughter, Farrah, she seems to me to be really smart. And I predict she's going to break away from the agency and start her own real estate company, which I think she should do. Because she also let it be known on the show that her commission wasn't the normal real estate commission rates that she should have been getting. And that she felt that the agency, aka Mauricio, was kind of skimming off of the commissions that she was supposed to get. And other agents said that too. So I don't know. I think she might, start her own stuff. But that was Kyle Richards defending Gwen Stefani's racist claim, saying that she's, quote, Japanese. Again, shut up, Kyle. It wasn't your fight. I'm really confused as to why you thought you even had the authority to get in on the situation. But that was her. That was her. All right, you guys. So now let's move on to, because we're gonna do just like a bunch of fun drama that's going on, and then we can all talk together, and I will drop that link. Okay, so let's move on to Miss Erika Jayne Girardi and what's going on with her. All right, so this is Erika Jayne. Obviously, we know her husband, Tom Girardi. And then the other guy, now this is just alleged allegations. Shout out to Freddie from Reality Diamond. If you're not watching him, you should definitely subscribe to his channel. He dropped this tea. Again, this is all alleged. This is all alleged. We're confirming the tea. But allegedly, the guy in the blue suit, his name is Gary Winnick. Now, word on the street, and again, alleged, because this guy's a billionaire and I don't want to get in trouble, but allegedly, he is Erika's new married boyfriend. He lives here in Los Angeles. He is a billionaire, like finance guy. He's 75 years old, and he is still very, very, very married. Close your legs to married men. So just a little bit about Gary real quick. So his name is Gary Winnick. He's an American financier, best known for founding and being chairman of Global Crossing between 1997 and 2002, when it declared bankruptcy. As of 2015, he was the chairman and chief executive officer of Winnick and Company, a Los Angeles-based private investment firm founded in 1985. In 1999, Winnick was listed by the Los Angeles Business Journal as the wealthiest Angelino with a net worth of more than $6 billion. And as of 2002, his net worth was listed at $900 million. In 2021, Winnick was named one of the LA 500 by the Journal. The Winnick Family Foundation has funded scholarships at Stanford, Cornell, Brown, Tufts, and LIU, and endowed a faculty position at Columbia University. However, he and his wife, Karen Beth Winnick, have 3 sons. His wife is an author, illustrator, and publisher of children's books. According to the Center of Investigative Reporting, Winnick is the owner of a 20,008 square foot Bellagio house near the Bel Air Country Club. Now, that house is gorgeous. You guys have to Google it. I didn't have time to put together a post for it, but you have to Google it. But this man is a billionaire with a B, long, strong money, very well respected here in LA, and very, very married with 3 children. Now, again, this is just the tea that's going around. I'm not confirming this. I'm not saying this is a fact until we get some concrete proof, but that is what the tea is. She's scooping in, and he's 75. She has a type, wealthy, married, and old. So I hope this isn't true. And the reason why I hope it's not true is because I don't want her to wreck a home. You know, he's married to his wife who's been with him and all this stuff, and they have kids. So I hope this turns out not to be true. But what is true is more legal problems, okay? So this is according to Reality Blurb. Erika Jayne sued for $100,000 as Tom Girardi's bankruptcy trustee sues Amex, that's American Express, for $50 million over alleged fraudulent transfers made by disbarred attorney to Erika and more. Now, let's see, because remember, we always talk about how are they able to run these schemes for so long? You know, banks have to be in on it. They have to know what's going on. So I'm actually really happy that they're coming after American Express, because the thing is, your average everyday person, if they can't pay their bills, The credit card companies, they're coming after you. The mortgage companies, they're coming after your house. But yet, do you notice how people who are allegedly so wealthy and so rich, when they can't pay their bills, oh, we'll just give you credit. We'll open the credit. We'll put it on the account. Blah, 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 blah. It's crazy. It's like they never give people a chance who don't have money. It's so sick. Anyway, let's keep going. The bankruptcy trustee who is overseeing Tom Girardi's law firm is now attempting to retrieve millions of dollars, which he alleges Tom fraudulently moved to over 100 people and businesses. Since last month, Elisa Miller, the Chapter 7 trustee, has filed over hundreds of lawsuits claiming Tom and the firm transferred the money in order to dodge their creditors. Elisa alleges Erika Jayne from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills was one of the people who transferred the funds. Again, this is a direct thing that they are saying she did. So she can't say it wasn't me, I didn't know about it, blah, 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 blah. No, girl, it was you. Elisa claims some of the money was for client funds, which Tom and his firm allegedly treated like their personal piggy bank, said the outlet. In November, a Chicago judge told Tom he was, quote, running a Ponzi scheme with client money. Elisa sued two different Amex subsidiaries, claiming the firm transferred over $50 million to them between December 2013 to November 2020, a month before Girardi Keese faced the lawsuit for allegedly stealing clients' money. Don't forget, that fall, winter of 2020, that's when everything went down. That is when everything went down, 100%. Okay, now let's go. Dun, 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 dun. Elisa sued clients' money. Okay, Elisa alleged at least $9 million from these payments came from purchases that solely benefited Thomas, Erika, and their family members and friends, and they didn't benefit Girardi Keese. Elisa sued Erika, alleging the star was transferred $97,200. 1 second, you guys. Sorry, my little cold comes back a little bit, but I'm good. Okay, let's keep going. Elisa sued Erika, alleging the star was transferred $97,200 from Girardi Keese between 2015 and 2018, though she wasn't employed there. So basically, she had the power to transfer Girardi Keese money and clients' funds, even though she was not working there. That is a fraud in and of itself right there. The trustee said the firm was nothing more than an illicit and felonious business operated to line the rather large pockets of Thomas, his wife, and numerous cohorts. In November, a Chicago federal judge said Tom admitted to not paying 4 victims' families of the Lion Air crash of 2018 based on a sealed filing in December 2020. The families were reportedly owed settlement funds totaling $2 million. Elisa filed lawsuits against not only Erika, but also some of the firm's former employees, country clubs, private aircraft vendors, and more in order to recover funds. She sued Tom's son-in-law, David Lyra, who was also an attorney at Girardi Keese, in an attempt to allegedly recoup $1.3 million from fraudulent transfers. The trustee also sued the company overseeing the Rose Bowl Stadium to retrieve $83,000, which Tom and others purportedly spent on event tickets at the stadium. Per court documents obtained by Radar, Elisa alleged Tom made payments to American Express when he was aware he owed creditors. During a time when Girardi Keese was in the precarious financial state and was not paying its creditors, Girardi Keese began a systematic process of draining the available cash, oftentimes consisting of stolen client trust funds by, among other things, making distributions to certain preferred creditors or third parties from funds of Girardi Keese's estate, said the lawsuit. A principal matter in which the fraud and conspiracy of Thomas and Girardi Keese was able to operate and flourish was by obtaining numerous credit cards from defendants, oftentimes in the names of employees and non-employees for personal use by Girardi Keese employees. Wow, this is deep. And Amex had to know this was a fraud. They had to know. Thomas, his friends, family, and associates, far and away the largest single credit card company used by Thomas and Girardi Keese was Amex. Amex caters to the wealthy. They must have known this was a fraud. Not only should they be going against Amex for the $50 million, but they should be going after them for more. That's crazy. That's crazy. Elisa claimed that Erika, her son, and several of Tom's employees received multiple credit cards. This is important because this is the first time I've seen, and correct me if I'm wrong, maybe somebody else has. Now, this is the first time I've seen Erika's son directly implicated in the fraud. I know that we've thought about it. There's been allegations, but this is the first time I've seen her son implied in the fraud. Obviously, Tom Girardi's children, or love children, the FBI agent allegedly, they've all been implicated. You know, his daughter's husband, his son-in-law, as we just read, he's also being sued for $1.3 million, you know? And then his alleged love child, the FBI agent, had to recuse himself over there at the FBI from overseeing his, daddies or whatever it is, investigation. But this is the first time that we have heard of Erika's son being implicated in actually being in the fraud. Like, we know that he benefited because he had access to money, and also he was living in the Pasadena mansion with them. And also Erika's son is a cop. He's a part of law enforcement. So who knows what's going on there. But this is the first time I'm hearing of her son being implied in the scheme. So if he did receive fraudulent credit cards and use those credit cards, then he is also liable. So, wow. Okay, let's keep going. In the period of 7 years before the bankruptcy, the firm allegedly made 767 payments to American Express, which totaled $50 million. With respect to the fraudulent transfers, no less than the amount of $9 million was on account of purchases that solely benefited Thomas, Erika, and their family members and friends, and had no relation to the operation of and did not benefit Girardi Keese, alleged the court docs. So basically, they used at least $9 million of the firm's and clients' money just for themselves. And what it sounds like is American Express was in on it. They knew what was going on, and they helped to hide the money and provided them with the fraudulent credit cards, because basically he was paying American Express to be a part of the scheme. Wow, this is a mess. The lawsuit is reportedly demanding American Express return the funds it allegedly received from Tom. The recovered money would reportedly be used to repay the firm's creditors. Wow. It's crazy. And this is the thing. We've seen this time and time again, and it's so disgusting. It's so disgusting to me. We've seen, the judicial system, our legal system, and banks, our financial system, they cater to people who have the illusion of being rich. Because I promise you, if it was your average Joe, your average Jane, they would not get away with that. The creditors would be coming after them. They'd be going after their credit report. They would be going after their house. They would be going after their cars. They would be garnishing their wages. They would they would be doing everything in their power to destroy your average working person who has fallen on hard times to recoup their little stupid money, but yet look what they allow the so-called rich and elite to get away with. We're seeing the same exact thing. I talk about this case often, the Alec Murdaugh case. If you're watching or if you're following the Murdaugh murders, he was from this prominent South Carolina or North Carolina, whatever the heck, in the South family. Like they like 100 years. It was like his great grandfather was like a huge solicitor and judges. It was very much like a Tom Girardi situation, and he was going to the bank. I think his bank was Bank of America, but very, very similar, being thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in the red, but yet they would still give him more money, more credit, and just allowing him to do this. And he was running a multi-million-dollar fraud scheme, very similar to what Tom Girardi did, because he was also a lawyer. Very similar, stealing from his clients, keeping people quiet, paying people off, the good old boys club. And it's being revealed that the banks knew about it and they just enabled him. But if it was average Joe and Jane, the banks would have your house, they would have your car, they would garnish your wages. They wouldn't care if they made you homeless in the street. It's disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. Okay, guys. Now, let's move on to another one because I want to get through a bunch of stories and then we can all talk and we'll have a fun kiki. We'll have a fun kiki after we get through a couple of the stories. Let's see. What do we want to talk about next? Let's see. Oh, do you guys want to see? This is Kyle's new tattoo. She's a hot mess. And I'm telling you guys, Kyle is going through something. Either, and I don't want to speak this into existence, but we know, because she has said this herself, she's struggled with an ED in the past. I don't know if that's come back, but she's lost a ton of weight. She's posting things about, I'll be in the gym forever. This is where you can find me. She just got another 4th tattoo. She got multiple nose jobs. It's just a hot mess. But that's her new tattoo, but I'll read to you what it says. This is from bravotv.com. It says, "Yup, Kyle Richards just got another tattoo. See her new rib cage ink." Ugh, she's ridiculous. Shortly after Kyle Richards debuted 3 tattoos, the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills cast member shared during the show's 12th reunion that she planned to hold off on any new ink for the time being. "I heard they're addicting, so I'm now on probation," she said. "I'll have to wait a little while." Well, it seems the wait is over. On January 11th, Kyle had an at-home birthday party that included a lavish dinner, a stunning cake, and a visit from a tattoo artist. In her Instagram stories, daughters Alexia Umansky showed her mom lying on the couch getting her new tattoo, and Sophia Umansky shared a close-up look at the finished 111 on her rib cage. 111 on 111, Sophia captioned on her photo, adding an angel emoji in reference to 111 being considered an angel number in astrology. See, I told you, Alexia, girl, I know you're 26, 27, but you act like you're 15. You have the mind of a 15-year-old. Anyway, Kyle also has another number inked on her body, a Roman numeral 18 on her wrist. "All 4 of my daughters have 18 in their birthdays," she explained during the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills reunion. She opted for a heart on the other wrist, and on her ankle is a moon and 4 stars. Each represent her 4 daughters. Dun, 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 dun. Kyle, shut up. Girl, just shut up, Kyle. I really think she's going through something. I think it also has to do with the Mauricio and Dorit rumors. I think she either knows that they're true and she doesn't want to admit it to herself, or she doesn't believe that they're true, but she's scared that there could be. So I think that she's really trying to compete with Dorit, because as we all know, Dorit is, I'm going to say it, money well spent. The way Dorit looks now is not the way Dorit looked 5 years ago or however long before when she got on the show. Dorit has had some plastic surgery. Dorit has had nose jobs. Dorit lost about 40 to 50 pounds, if we're being honest. If you Google what she looked like before, I think Kyle is doing that. Kyle has denied taking the diabetic shot that the Kardashians and everybody else in Hollywood is taking. I think she's lying. Like, she's friends with the Kardashians, she's friends with the Hiltons. I'm pretty sure she went over and got that shot. But girl, it's a mess. It's a hot mess. So that's the Kyle situation. Let's see what else is going on with the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Oh, you know who really is annoying me? Okay, so this is Batty. So as we all know, Batty, aka at Wokestan, is basically Lisa Rinna's burner account, troll account. Now, for all the people, and I know it's not you, Candy Cans, because you guys are smart. For all the people who keep saying, no, Lisa Rinna, it was a mutual choice. Lisa Rinna decided to leave. Lisa Rinna, it was a mutual decision. Stop. If it was such a mutual decision, why is Lisa Rinna still talking about the show, still going after Garcelle and Sutton, and still trying to take them down? If you're so booked and busy, Lisa Rinna, the way you try to lie and say you are, then go off and be booked and busy and keep everybody's name out of your mouth. So listen, okay, this is a screenshot from Batty's Twitter account, and it says Rinna, saying Rinna says this. She says, I did a lot of work because I'm a worker bee and I'll just do it. I'll say it. I don't have any fear. If you're so liked, you're not going to want to do the work. So who's going to do the work over there? That's my question. Who's doing the work? Who's going to say, I heard you said this about me? Who's going to do that? You tell me. Who's going to do that over there? And then in the caption, again, Batty, Lisa Rinna, keep their names out your mouth. She goes, quote, they're going to have to show up and work. Lisa Rinna on Sutton and Garcelle. Hashtag Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Listen, this is the thing. Sutton and Garcelle both showed up to work. That's why you had somebody to actually spar with. Let's be clear. Sutton was the first one to really stand up to Erika when it came out with all the fraud stuff. Remember, not this season, but the season before that, Sutton was the first one to really ask the real questions and not just be like, oh, Erika, this must be so hard for you. Sutton showed up in work. That's why Erika and Sutton were beefing so hard. And Erika was like, you better shut up. You better close your mouth. You want to get sued, blah, 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 blah. When Sutton was asking their will questions, and Sutton was like, well, actually, I talked to my lawyers. Actually, I read the Los Angeles Times article. Actually, I have friends who told me they quit Girardi and Keese because they knew that they were doing fraud and they didn't want to be a part of it. Sutton showed up and worked. Sutton also showed up and worked when she played the hell out of you, Lisa Rinna, when she bought the receipts about the Elton John party that you were trying to lie about. Who showed up to work? Sutton did. All Garcelle had to do was breathe, and all of you women were bothered. She just had to breathe, and you guys were bothered. And also don't forget, Rinna, you lied about the whole spaghetti gate, whatever storyline with Garcelle because you wanted to have an issue with Garcelle in order to make yourself relevant. Harry himself said, I didn't have an issue with Garcelle, and Lisa Rinna herself said on camera she lied about it. So if you're so worried about people not showing up to work, and also Garcelle had the best line to Erika, I don't have to make you look bad, Rinna. Erika, you do that all by yourself. Garcelle stuck it to Erika. And all of the storylines in some way kind of had to do with Garcelle, other than I would say maybe like the Kathy Hilton didn't, but Kyle going after Garcelle about not paying the bill, all of that stuff. Erika Jayne cussing out Garcelle's son, that was a big one. Lisa Rinna throwing Garcelle's book in the trash, that was a big one. So who's not showing up to work, sweetheart? Who's not showing up to work? I get it, Rinna, you're in your feelings because you got fired, but you got fired for a reason. We don't like you, boo-boo. Let it go. And stop lying and saying it was a mutual decision. That made you look even more dumb and even more stupid. Girl, bye. Girl, bye. All the way bye. Just a hot mess. Just an absolute hot mess. But she's still out here talking and trying to stay relevant when she's really not. Okay, let's see. Okay, now let's talk about. Do we want to talk about Brandi and her running her mouth about people? Let's see. Okay, let's talk about Brandi and Brandi running her mouth about people. Okay, so this is according to Reality Blurb. And stick around, Candy Canes, because I'm going to take your questions and comments. I just want to get through a bunch of what's new and latest on the streets, what the blogs are saying. So keep it up. And I love you guys. All right, here we go. So this is according to Reality Blurb. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Brandi Glanville talks, quote, very rude Whitney Rose, heated text with Denise Richards, and why Jen Shah's sentence isn't enough. Plus Shades Craig Conover talks Real Housewives Ultimate Girlship with Camille and Kim update. So this should be juicy. All right, let me take a little sip of my water. All right, let's go. Brandi Glanville had a bone to pick with Whitney Rose on Wednesday night's episode of Watch What Happens Live. Before the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills alum spoke of a, quote, heated text message exchange she had with Denise Richards. Her interaction with the men of Bravo at BravoCon and more Real Housewives of Beverly Hills related topics, Brandi accused the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City cast member of being very rude to her and her friend at the October event, and explained what allegedly prompted her to act out. She was very rude to me and Mia. She thought I was flirting with her husband, Justin Rose, Brandi explained on the January 11th episode of Watch What Happens Live. Then, after confirming to host Andy Cohen that she was definitely not flirting with Justin, asking, I mean, are you joking? Brandi revealed details of her most recent chat with Denise, who she infamously said she hooked up with on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills season 10. Sorry. After she was on Jeff Lewis's radio show, we had a very heated text exchange, Brandi said, giving a nod to Denise's 2022 appearance on the show, during which she and Denise said that Brandi had lied about their supposed affair. Listen, side note, you guys, side note. Do I believe Whitney Rose was rude? Yes. Whitney Rose, to me, I can't stand Whitney Rose. To me, she is so fake and phony. She makes up stuff. She lies. She's a weirdo. I'm not into Whitney Rose at all. Now, do I think Brandi was flirting with her husband, Justin Rose? Yes and no. Yes, because I think Brandi will flirt with a wall. I think she flirts with anything that moves. Brandi, to me, just needs attention, no matter where it comes from, no matter what the consequences are, male, female, married, single, or otherwise. I think Brandi is just really thirsty and wants attention, right? But by no, do I think she actually wants to be with Justin or do anything with him? No, of course not, please. But I do believe her when she said Whitney Rose was rude. I think Whitney Rose is just super, super hella fake. And I wonder what they're going to do with the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, because to me, this last season was just a hot mess. Just a complete hot mess. It was boring. It was repetitive. Nothing was resolved. I think that the women they brought on, and we can do a Real Housewives of Salt Lake City recap too, but I just thought it was really boring. I think that they did a misstep in casting. To me, Angie Harrington, Angie K, and Dana, they were basically the same exact person. To me, it was like bringing on the full Fox 5. You brought in a group of women who only have one person who is the ringleader for all of them, and they just regurgitate what they all said that they were going to say. None of them had individual personalities. None of them had anything going on in their own lives. None of them had a storyline outside of Jen Shah. So to me, I'm like, this was stupid. If you're going to bring in new people who have their own lives, their own drama, their own personalities, their own point of views. I don't want just 3 different versions of Angie Harrington. It was so stupid. It was so dumb. It was so dumb. And I don't like Angie Harrington anyway. All right, let's keep going. And Whitney, miss me with Whitney. She's a hot mess. Okay, let's keep going. Moving on to Real Housewives Salt Lake City topics, Brandi said she didn't think Jen Shah's 6.5-year sentence was enough. My grandmother's birthday is today. She's 95. Grandma Hazel, no, it's not fair. She should do more time, Brandi stated, signaling to the fact that Jen allegedly targeted the elderly in a years-long telemarketing scheme. She also said she believes Jen's husband, Sharif Coach Shah, absolutely knew about her crime. Once an attorney, always an attorney, she noted. All right, this is the thing. I agree with Brandi on both counts. I agree. Jen Shah did not get enough time. She won't actually do 6.5 years. Even if she did 6.5, I don't think it's enough time. The lives that she ruined and the money that she stole from those people, 6.5 years isn't enough time. The victim said that they lost their retirement money. They lost their life savings. Some people became homeless. Some people, thought about ending things because of what happened. I don't think 6.5 years was enough time either. And I also agree that Coach Shah definitely knew, or he was willfully ignorant. But either way, on some level, he knew what was going on. Coach Shah is a very intelligent person. I think he knew what was going on. So if I'm going to sit here and say Erika Jayne knew and Teresa knew and Phaedra knew, I have to say Coach Shah knew. I don't think that, he just thought his wife was some amazing marketer making all of this money. And again, I don't believe in coincidence. I don't think it's a coincidence that he stopped practicing law the same exact year she started her own scheme. Also, when we did the whole deep dive into Jen Shah and to Coach and everything that happened with the fraud scheme, to me, neither Coach or Jen have plausible deniability. There's no way they can say that what she was doing, they didn't know was wrong, because Jen was at a company that was doing the same exact fraud scheme that got investigated by the feds, and she got deposed in that investigation, and they ended up having to pay like $29 million or something like that, to like the FEC or whatever the government agency is, in fines and fees because of their fraud scheme. So if you're at a company and you're doing the same exact thing, they get investigated by the feds, found guilty by the feds, and then you go and start the same exact company, you cannot say that you did not know what you're doing was illegal when you literally was deposed in a federal investigation about it. That's why, I don't know if you guys watched the last episode of Salt Lake City. That's why, remember when Heather Gay said they found something in the witness statements and they found something in the evidence that they could not refute? Like it was irrefutable. And that's why she ended up actually saying she was guilty. I bet you that was it, because you cannot refute that. She was trying to throw Stuart under the bus. Stuart knew what they were doing was illegal too, but they were doing it together. That's what I think Heather Gay was talking about when she said Coach Shah was going through the stuff and they found something that they could not dispute. And I think that's what it was. And I called this months ago. I was like, she does not have plausible deniability. She cannot say she did not know what she was doing was wrong, because it was clear as day she knew. And I think that's what they were talking about. All right, but let's keep going. As for Heather Gay's black eye, Brandi suspected someone beat the ish out of her, but stating that she is Team Heather amid feud with Whitney and suggesting Heather isn't a ride or die friend to Jen. Heather threw her under the bus. She's not riding or dying, she explained. All right, Brandi, I'll give you this. I agree. I'm out of the two people, Heather and Whitney, I'm more Team Heather than I am Team Whitney. That's for sure. I don't really like Heather, especially the whole black eye thing. And I think that I think it was Jen Shah who gave Heather the black eye. And Heather just doesn't want to say anything because Jen Shah's already going to prison and she doesn't want to look like a bad friend, and it would just make matters worse. While attending BravoCon last October, Brandi said she was looking for Andrea Denver, the hot Andreas Denver, the hot Italian model who wasn't present, and she said she added that she didn't vibe with Captain Jason Chambers, whatever the hell his name is. He was vibing a lot of my friends, she revealed. As for who she did vibe with, Brandi says member of Southern Charm slid into her DMs before shading Craig Kernifer's rude behavior. He was very famous. She explained of his "do you know who I am" type behavior. I agree. Craig is a hot mess. Anyway, she goes on to talk about a bunch of other stuff. But that's kind of what's going on with Brandi and the situation. Let's see what else she's saying. Okay. She then said she believes Lindsay Hubbard and Carl's romance will last longer than that of Craig and Paige's because their basis is just being best friends. I agree with that as well. We also need to do a Southern Charm and Winter House recap. I know you guys watched now, so we're going to do a fun recap of that. I agree. I really like Lindsay and Carl together. Craig and Paige to me are cringy and really, really annoying. And I think Craig is still in love with Naomi. While she and Camille Grammer haven't been on the best of terms in recent years, they're set to star alongside one another in the upcoming 4th season of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, where Brandi hopes to squash their many Twitter beefs. Hopefully she'll come and not cry over dumb stuff, Brandi said. This is the thing. I think Brandi shines on shows like Ultimate Girls Trip, but I don't want Brandi back on the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I would prefer Camille to come back over Brandi. And I'm happy that Camille is doing Ultimate Girls Trip. It'll be a good audition for her to get back on the show. On the recently aired 12th season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, on which Brandi did not appear, Kyle was seen enduring a falling out with sister Kathy Hilton. And when asked about the ongoing drama between Kyle and her sisters, Brandi said she understands the complicated dynamic between the ladies. Because I'm a middle child, I'm one of 3. I get it, she stated. There's always going to be a push and pull. It's a difficult thing. I love Kim, I love Kathy, I love Kyle. In my opinion, there can always be 1 star and there's 3 stars, so that's really what it comes down to. Brandi, shut up. When Andy asked then about where she stands with Kim Richards, who she was previously quite close to, Brandi confirmed they are still not back in touch after a mid-pandemic spat. This is the thing. Brandi, to me, is a secret agent for the full Fox 5. She turned on, what's her name? She turned on Kim. She turned on pretty much everybody trying to get back in their good graces. Girl, bye. So that's that. All right, let's see what else is going on in Bev Hills that we can talk about. Dun, 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 dun. Or does anybody want to come up? I will drop the link. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to come up and join. And if not, we can keep talking. All right, you guys, I just dropped the link if anybody wants to come up and chat. Let's see. What else do we want to talk about? Do we want to talk about Kyle Richards addressing Lisa Rinna? Or let's get into some of our Candy Cane question and comments. Oh, hey.
Money can't buy your class.
What is up? How are you?
I'm very good. By the way, hi everybody, it's your gay, Lord Karma Collective.
Hey, Karma.
I thought I'd do that, Candy, because you didn't go, hey, this is your girl.
I love it. What is up? Go ahead and weigh in.
Which part do you start? This is like a massive overload of
I
mess.
know. It's a lot, right? Wherever you want to start.
Brandi, I don't want to say her on BH, period.
Mm-hmm.
I want to start saying rich women on BH. No actresses, no crazy little skanks. I want the real thing. It's Beverly Hills. And as for Brandy's talking about Whitney, I don't trust Whitney as far as you can throw her.
Agree.
I think she's scheming. I think the fake niceness is a ploy to cover up what she's really got going on. And she's always playing games with the women. Mary Cosby called her out ages ago on it. So let's have a look. Erika. I say she's getting a new man pregnant. She's going to make sure she keeps that money. He looked at me. I mean, these guys are stunners who she goes for, aren't they? Absolutely gorgeous. Has nothing to do with the money, it's the way they look. As for Kyle getting a tattoo, if they shaved off her head, you'd see on the side of it, it'd be 666.
Ooh.
So it's not just the 3 numbers what she has more than that.
Yeah.
As for Gwen Stefani, back in the day, I bought that single because I like the style of the Japanese women. And I like that style. And she used Vivienne Westwood as well in that album. That's why I liked it. And I like the crossover between the two styles because of the Jaguar girls and also Vivienne Westwood, because she liked Vivienne Westwood. So that's why I bought the single, because I was quite into that, because I always look at the different fashions and that when I was younger, doing illustration and design. So I can't really comment on that part. Whether or not she's using them is another thing to make money. But at the end of the day, those girls wanted to do it. So what can you say? It's, you know what I mean?
I do.
So, and anyways, going back, who's next? As for Garcelle, I'm wanting to know about this messages, what was said about Garcelle and about what Erika was going to do to the son, because that is disgusting. The thing is, I have no problem with Garcelle at all being on the show. She's different. She's a fresher breath of air, but a personality is just what it should be for the show. She doesn't have to be over the top. She says it as it is. She doesn't have to be a drama queen, just acting like a normal woman. And the way she talks to them, she doesn't pull any punches, and nor should she. I think she's perfect for the show. It's what it needed. It's like a breath of fresh air coming straight through, because I am so fed up with this Fox 5 and Fox 4 or Fox 3. As for Kyle with her sisters, does she have no loyalty?
No loyalty. She threw both of them under the bus. And Kim Richards called it. She said, Kathy would have my back like a real sister would. And then when Kathy went on the reunion, she had her sister's back against Lisa Rinna.
Right, this is what I'm talking about. There's an article where she's backing Lisa Rinna. What does Lisa Rinna have on Kyle Richards? What does she know what Kyle doesn't want out to go against your own sisters? I'm sorry, Candy, but there's something deep going on there, because there's one thing you don't do, and that is go against your own blood.
Yeah, I don't think it's that Lisa Rinna has anything on Kyle. I think that Kyle is so deeply insecure and is so jealous of her sisters that she had no problem allowing Lisa Rinna to disrespect them. I think it comes from Kyle trying to compete with her own sisters, because you can tell that the rivalry between them is so deep rooted. I think that predates Lisa Rinna.
There's got to be some proper medical term for it, the way she behaves. Like, you know what I mean? Because it's a bit, I don't know, I get a bit narcissistic vibes from her, because everything has to be about her, and she makes the situations about her.
Yeah. And she's a victim. Kyle is always a victim. Oh, you guys are so mean to me. My family hates me. I have anxiety. Shut up, Kyle. Your family doesn't hate you. They just call you out on your BS. And if everybody in your family has a problem with you, then maybe you're the problem.
Candy, on a personal note, as a person who suffers really bad from anxiety, which is me, and which is why I never go on camera. I don't really go out that much into crowds or anything, because it's too much.
Yeah.
This woman is on TV, on live TV. She is in movies. She is walking the streets. She is going out partying, doing leg splits in the clubs and everything like that. Considering she's supposed to have anxiety, I'd love to know what medication she's taking, because I wouldn't mind some of that, because her anxiety doesn't seem to be that much. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I think she uses her anxiety as like an excuse.
It's a weapon to get
It's
her
an
out of
excuse.
being a
Yeah.
troublemaker.
Yup, 100%. Ooh,
The
let's go through this article together. It'll be fun. So this is from Reality Blurb. Kyle Richards addresses Lisa Rinna and Diana Jenkins' exit from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, plus Brandi and Camille on Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. So Kyle Richards and Sutton Strack are weighing in on Lisa Rinna's departure from the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. As Sutton suggested, the entire cast is, quote, sad to see Lisa move on. Side note, I doubt that. They're probably all doing a party dance. I mean, Garcelle basically said, I'm still standing. But anyway,
doing backflips.
Kyle admitted that despite the drama that went down between Lisa and her sister Kathy Hilton in season 12, she's going to miss having Lisa on the show and finds it strange that she won't be a part of the upcoming episodes. I will miss Rinna, and don't at me because she fought with my sister last year and all that. You know what, guys? I can put two situations in separate places because we did have a lot of amazing times on the show over these years, and Lisa brought a lot to the show over her 8 years of being on. Kyle revealed on Amazon Live via Everything Housewives on Instagram. Kyle, shut the hell up. This is the thing. There's no creating two places in two different buckets when someone literally tries to destroy someone in your family. It's not like Lisa Rinna and Kathy had a spat over, something really trivial, or it was like a light tea or a light shade. Lisa Rinna called her sister a racist, a homophobe, said she was psychotic, said she had a breakdown, called her a white supremacist. That is literally trying to destroy not only this woman, but her livelihood and her family.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's very, very, very damaging. She said that this woman said the N-word and the homophobic F-word. That to me is not putting me and Lisa Rinna have fun in Amsterdam getting drunk and wasted in one category and what she did to my sister in another category. Like, Kyle is delusional and evil, because when you really sit back and think about what Lisa Rinna did, if Lisa Rinna did that to somebody in my family, I would come for Lisa Rinna's neck every single day, every single second of every single day, because that is so horrible.
She'd be scalped.
It's horrible.
Old eagle.
Horrible. And it reminds me of what's going on in Potomac, with Giselle and Ashley trying to lie on Chris Bassett. Like, this isn't just like kiki ha ha shade. Making it out that somebody is a sexual predator and is doing things that are like luring people and making people feel uncomfortable and doing sexual advances, that's a big thing. Look at what Phaedra did to Candy and Todd in Atlanta. Like, these are big things. Kyle is acting like Lisa and Kathy had a falling out over, she wore the same dress I wore and now we're beefing. No, she literally tried to destroy your sister. Those are huge allegations. What do you think?
What I think, Candy, is, have you noticed in the article, she does not mention Kathy's name, just stuff what happened the year before.
Yep.
She's not acknowledging her sister. Now, that is heartless, because that is your sister who has your back.
Yep.
What are you doing, Kyle? And like, Lisa Rinna, she has a knack for trying to weaponize people, like to destroy them, to take them down, because she knows exactly what boxes to take to get them off the show. And it's not going to work with Kathy Hilton, because I'm sorry, but Bravo has been wanting Kathy Hilton since day one, or out of all sisters. And Lisa Rinna, for 8 seasons, what has her storyline been? Tearing down these women.
Exactly. And it's like they like to attack women who don't need the show the way that they need the show. Exactly. Kathy doesn't need the show. The show needs Kathy, which is very evident, which is why Kathy is coming back and Lisa Rinna got fired. All right, let's keep going on the article and see what it says. Okay. Dun, 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 dun. Regardless of what happened last year, I still have very strong feelings about what happened last year. Regardless of that, she brought a lot to the show. Shut up, Kyle. According to Kyle, she's not focused on Lisa's feud with Kathy, but rather on the fun times that they experienced together in the past 8 seasons. We had a lot of great times, and that's what I'm choosing to think about and remember, even though that also makes me sad. It's very strange to think she's gone, and I'm not someone who likes change, Kyle noted. Meanwhile, Sutton acknowledged that the ladies of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills are sad to see Lisa's run on the show come to an end. I think we're all sad that Lisa's leaving, Sutton shared on the Sarah Fraser show. I think she'll be missed. She always loved to stir the pot, and then we all like to taste the soup, so I think we'll miss Lisa's soup, but I don't think this is the last time we'll see from her. I think it's going to be I think it'll be some nice time of reflection for her, is what I'm hoping, and I wish Lisa all the best, she added. Kyle also addressed Diana's recent exit from the series, saying she's pregnant, so I totally understand that. And she addressed Brandi Glanville and Camille Grammer's participation in the upcoming 4th season of Real Housewives Girls Ultimate Girls Trip. I actually know a lot of people on there, obviously, but we got some Real Housewives of Beverly Hills being represented, all ex-housewives, Kyle noted, via Everything's Housewives on Instagram. Camille's on there and Brandi. I'm just going to say it, they don't like each other. I was trying to think of a nice way to put that. They are not friends. Side note, I think the fact that both Brandi and Camille are going to be on the Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, doesn't that kind of mean that they're not going to be on the upcoming new season? Because weren't there rumors that both of them were to come back? That's what I think. As she prepared for the start of filming for the upcoming 13th season of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills earlier this week, Kyle took to her Instagram page where she shared a hilarious throwback video of Rinna attempting to get Kyle and Dorit Kemsley out of her bed as Teddy Mellencamp filmed a video of the trio in Provence, France amid season 9. Dun, 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 dun. Oof. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts is Kyle wants to stop acting like she's 16 mentally and trying to look like she's in her 20s to try and keep her husband happy, and actually just drop him and move on and find someone who actually does give a toss about her. Mm-hmm. Sorry, but she is the absolute epitome of an idiot. She is so insecure, it's cringe to watch.
Yeah.
It's just like, for God's sake, Kyle, like, your husband's walking all over you. You look like an idiot on this show. You've got no storyline. You hate your sisters. You're so dysfunctional. Go and see a therapist, for God's sake.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, Michael Myers just finish her off and be done with it. She is an embarrassment. I honestly don't know why she's still on the show. Yes, she's an OG, but why exactly does she bring to the show?
I agree. I think it's Kyle's time to go. Like, she's boring. She doesn't have her own storyline. Like, the only reason why I want Kyle to come back and I want Dorit to come back is because I don't know why, but like, I need the Mauricio Dorit affair to be addressed on the show.
Is it actually true?
That's the thing. The only way we're going to know if it's true or not is if they actually address it on the show. To me, if they don't address it, it gives more credence to it actually being true. Because there's no way you have the juiciest storyline ever. 2 housewives who are supposed to be best friends, and one of them is allegedly sleeping with the other one's husband. That is the juiciest Real Housewives storyline ever. If they don't actually dive into that, then you know Kyle stopped it.
As soon as Kyle got that new nose job, I knew something was fishy in the waters.
Mm-hmm.
And I goes, oh, who's she trying to impress here?
Yep.
Is something going on in a marriage? Same, so she had the nose for how long the last time? There's something going on. And it's not looking good. As for like Erika, do you know what I personally think Erika's done since she's getting rid of Tom? I think she's went to house parties and she's took an empty fishbowl and hoping the keys will fill up so she can get her rich sugar daddy again.
Mm-hmm.
That's Erika all over. I'm still wondering, Candy, is she using Dorit's charity service, homeless but not toothless, to get her teeth checked?
I have no idea. Probably.
Because you know with her being poor now, so supposedly poor now.
Yeah.
I know it was down that soup kitchen.
Yeah. I
Please.
think Joanne makes a good point. She says she wanted Rinna to come for Kathy. That's why she backed her up. I agree. I think that Kyle didn't want Kathy on the show. She wanted it to be her show. And she knows that each of her sister outshines her.
Of course.
Yep. I am Miguel says Kyle defends the Wicked Witches from the West. She should take the broom and fly with them away from Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I agree with that. And do you think Bravo will ever fire Erika, or they're just gonna milk the whole Tom Girardi fraud stuff for as
They want
long
the
as she
pound of
can?
flesh. They want the pound of flesh, and they'll make sure they'll get the pound of flesh with this court case, regardless of what happens, just to see her reactions. Then she'll be thrown aside because, apart from that, what was Erika's story before that? Like Pantygate.
Yeah, Erika really didn't have a solid storyline before the fraud stuff. Just being the Ice Queen, it was Pantygate when she was beefing with Dorit.
When she blew up trying to look Japanese in front of that other soap actress, Eileen,
Yep.
over nothing, and like even he's like looking like, I think I need a bodyguard around me because she's a bit crazy.
Yep.
I mean, like I said, we've already got one Fruit Loop in. We don't need the other one, Erika. You know what I mean? Rinna was already there. But then again, Rinna's gone now, so we might have to keep this Fruit Loop for now with explosive little ways, just for a little bit of drama. I'm just wondering if she tilts and changes her personality because this Fox 5 thing and Fox 4 is dwindling down. And another thing what I want to know, I think you've hit something right there regarding Dorit and Mo and Kyle, this triangle. If this does come out and explodes, this will just rip all of them apart.
Yeah, so this is the thing. If they don't address it on the show, I'm gonna think it's 100% true.
Yeah,
because it's the juiciest storyline you can really think of for a show like that. It's basically like the best storyline ever, even for like a TV show, even for like a Desperate Housewives, two best friends housewives. They always do couples things, and then of course two of them are having an affair behind the other two's back. It's a tale as old as time. How
it's a
many
bit
times do we
too
hear about,
close.
oh, we were together forever. I thought she was my friend until I found her, having sex with my husband in the golf room or whatever the hell it was at the country club. It's a tale as old as time, and it's such a juicy story. So if Bravo doesn't explore it, if they're not talking about it, somebody squashed it, somebody stopped it. But the only way I'm going to believe it didn't happen is I need to see energetically Dorit deny it, and I need to see energetically Mauricio deny it. And Mauricio, I need to see him deny it to Kyle, his wife, and to PK, his friend. And I need to see Dorit deny it to PK, her husband, and to Kyle, her friend. And then I need to see confessionals. I need the producers asking the questions. Where did the rumor come from? Did you guys ever swing? Have you ever been intimate with Mauricio? Are you sexually attracted to him? What about blah, 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 blah? Like, I need the producers to do their job. But if they do not address this rumor, the powers that be squashed it.
I'm just wanting to know, what is the attraction with Mauricio? I don't know. Personally. Is he hanging out dollar bills out of his side pockets for these women to try and grab his ass or something? I really don't know. Is he hung? I just don't know. Like, what is the attraction? Because when I'm looking at him, and even his personality, when he was making fun of Garcelle's son, I was just like, what a moron creep. Get away from me. Like, you weird. Like, if that happened to his daughter, would he be sitting there laughing, joking about it? Hell no.
Of course not. What I mean? He coddles his children. He acts like they're so precious. That's why all of them are stunted. That's why, and again, I'm not trying to talk about anybody's children. I want to be respectful, but they put them on the show. Portia was struggling with anxiety and stuff going on. And then Alexia acts like she's 14 or 15. Like the way she talks, the way she carries herself. And this girl is about 26, 27. Actually, at this point, she's probably closer to 28 because they filmed a year before, And it was just like, girl, you need to really get it together. And then their other daughter is exactly the same. It's ridiculous.
I'm just wondering, are they actually gonna push Kyle out and just let it go? It's run its course. I've noticed you got a picture of Lisa Vanderpump up for any particular reason.
Yes. So the reason why we had Vanderpump up is because Jessica Chastain was on Watch What Happens Live, and she was saying how she wanted Lisa Vanderpump to come back on the show. And then her and Vanderpump were having like a really fun Twitter exchange and everything. And then also, don't forget, Kyle posted a couple days ago on our Instagram stories, like throwback to season 9. And it was I think it was season 9, season 8, season 9, and it was her and Vanderpump laughing in the car with Mauricio and Ken, and it was back when they were really, really good friends. So basically doing like a throwback honoring their friendship. And so everyone was like, oh, does this mean Lisa Vanderpump is coming back? You know, does this mean Kyle is trying to make amends? So if she comes back on the show, she'll have her as an ally. Now, this is the thing. I don't know how Kyle expects Lisa Vanderpump to take her back with open arms when we just had Mauricio on Watch What Happens Live saying that Lisa Vanderpump was the meanest Bravo-celebrity, that she was all rude and all this stuff. And then remember when Lisa Vanderpump clapped back and was just like, oh, you're just being a puppet and all of this stuff. And people were like, yeah, Mauricio, you didn't think she was rude when you wanted to sell her and Ken Todd's properties. But the moment they had a falling out and they no longer wanted you to sell their properties, all of a sudden she's mean and rude. But when you guys were doing your double dates, or maybe, you know what, LVP didn't want to sleep with Mauricio the way Dorit does, allegedly. Who knows? Who knows? But that's why LVP is up there. And what do you think? Do you think Lisa Vanderpump is coming back?
Honestly, I would love it if she did. I've always said she is the one that wears the crown in BH. Regardless of Kathy Hilton, she is the queen of BH. The problem is, I don't think she's going to come back, not if Vanderpump Rules is still successful, because she has no need to come back to it. You know what I mean? And especially when she's got her businesses, because it's just an extra side job for her if she does come back. I mean, and her age as well, like she is getting older, and I'm not being ageist, but she is.
Right.
She's got a grandchild now, and her husband will probably be wanting to settle down and sit back. So I don't know. Like I say, I'd love it if she did come back because she didn't need her in it. Even though she's English, she is Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
But like I say, with the situation, Kyle wants to be on her hands and knees crawling, and I still wouldn't give a dust. Now, that's how we British act. Once you cross us as once, we give you another chance. Do it again. You're out of our lives for good.
Mm-hmm.
Done.
I think Lisa Vanderpump would come back because even though she has Vanderpump Rules this season, to me, Vanderpump Rules is kind of like fallen off. Like I didn't even watch the last season of it. I think this might be the last one, if not close to the last one.
I don't watch it.
Also, she doesn't have her own show where she's the star. Like, yeah, it's Vanderpump Rules, but she kind of like pops in and pops out. And I remember she had the show where she was doing like dinner parties and stuff at her house with like celebrities during the pandemic, but that got canceled.
It didn't do well.
It did not do well. So I could see her coming back. And I can also see her coming back now because Lisa Rinna is gone. So I could definitely see her coming back as a way of saying like, ding dong, the witch is dead. And now the queen is actually back. And I could also see her coming back to really stick it to Kyle. You know, now that Kyle really doesn't have any allies. Lisa Rinna is gone. Erika is all over the place. Ding Dong Dorit is doing it to Mauricio. They had their huge falling out. We saw a chink in their friendship in Aspen when Dorit chose Erika over Kyle until her boyfriend Mauricio came over and said, y'all chill. Remember that? And so I think Kyle is in a very precarious place. And they're saying that she's also now trying to befriend Garcelle and Sutton because she knows that she doesn't really have any other allies going on. So I could see Lisa Vanderpump coming back, and I would love to have her back.
The question is, though, Candy, how
Mhm.
long is this court case going to be going on with Erika?
I honestly think with that, I think the feds are putting together a very long and strong case against her. I don't see her getting arrested or indicted until at least a year from now.
Because this is what I'm saying. She may be coming back when Erika's being sent down, because she's not a fan of Erika either. I'd love if she came in and treat the little Fox group like pieces of crap what they are for what they did to her. I mean, you remember,
Yeah.
her brother just died.
Yeah.
And Erika's thing was, oh, well, I sent you a note.
Yeah. Sarah, I just dropped the link if you want to come up.
Absolutely pathetic.
Mhm.
And you just don't treat people like that. Whether you're that close or not, you still don't treat people like that and behave like
Mhm.
that. She's just lost a family member. Like, if that happened to Erika's son being shot, God forbid, from being
Yeah.
a policeman, could you see Vanderpump sitting there cold as ice? No.
Nope.
Do you know what I mean? But I tell you what the Brits do best, they come back and serve it cold, and it would be, I'd be laughing my back off. She came rolling in with an actual crown on.
Mhm.
It's
Hey,
needed.
Sarah.
Hi guys, you okay? I've been
Yeah,
loving
you
the
want to
chat
weigh
this
in?
evening. It's been great, this chat this evening. So
Yay!
much. I've just been killing myself trying to remember what Alison Dubois said to Kyle. It was,
Oh yeah.
he will never emotionally fulfill you, I think. And
Mhm.
how true is that? I mean, seasons later, we're still seeing it. It's
She
amazing.
isn't wrong.
No,
Mhm.
it's just totally spot on. Oh well, poor Kyle. I
Poor
don't
guy.
really.
Oh, has
Oh, keep
everyone
going,
okay?
Sarah.
Sorry, yeah, no, I don't feel sorry for Kyle. I think she's all that anxiety and everything is just her holding on to this marriage that she knows is a bit of a sham, and she must see what we see when, like Maurizio and I forget the daughter's name, the older daughter. They're just really creepy together. I don't like it. Is it Amelia?
No, it's Farah.
Farah, that's it. Yes. They just feel wrong together. There's something about that relationship that just feels off and creepy, and I don't like it. So yeah, but you were talking on Erika as well, and I'm so done with her. I don't even think this court case is interesting anymore.
I mean, look at the Tatars, they
I
part in
agree.
that picture.
Even they're running away from that face.
Yes.
Do you guys think she's really dating this billionaire guy, or that's just like a random rumor going around?
The way there's dating and then there's having sex.
I hope she's upgrading her host skills, because I mean, Tom was sleeping around with everyone behind her back. That's a bit of an embarrassment if you're a professional sort of hoe. It's not much of an endorsement of her skills, is it?
These men on these shows love spreading their seed, don't they?
They do. They do. Someone in the chat said, I wonder how many love children Tom Girardi's got. Now, that's quite interesting. I do wonder, because I only know of the one lady who had the son who's like the FBI director or whatever. That's the only one I know of.
Yep.
But I'd imagine there are a lot through the years and stuff.
I want to ask Candy a question.
Yeah, what's up?
What's going on with the run-up? Have you heard anything? Is Dorit coming back? Is Crystal coming back?
Oof, I haven't heard anything about Dorit or Crystal other than it's still on the fence. More likely than not, it seems like Dorit might be demoted to friend of, and then whether or not Crystal is coming back is still on the fence. I think it's
thought
pretty.
that was confirmed. I don't know whether I heard that though.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'd heard somewhere that Crystal had been confirmed, but I do make things up in my own head to suit myself sometimes.
No,
so I may well have done.
I think there's going to be a plot line starting. You know that Crystal had the fallout with those 14 friends.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle's wanting one of those friends to join the show.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I heard, that Crystal
You know what I mean?
got a friend out of that group coming back. I can't
But
remember what
now
I heard.
that's one of her ex-friends.
No, one of
And
the
Carl
ex
wants to be buddy.
Yeah.
Carl wants to be buddy with her. And that's what I'm saying. I think Kyle's got it in for Crystal on a side note. I think she's wanting Crystal out altogether because she thinks in her tiny mind that Teddy's going to come back.
Yep. Yeah, so they were saying that Kyle was going so hard for Crystal because Kyle felt like Crystal took Teddy's spot.
Right.
But that's not true because whether it was Crystal or somebody else, it still wouldn't have been Teddy.
No, that's true.
Like,
That's
Teddy
true,
wasn't coming back either way.
Nobody
Teddy can't even get on Ultimate Girls Trip. That's how boring Teddy is.
Nobody found her entertaining. Nobody. I've never seen anybody endorse Teddy once. Nowhere.
Ever.
It's just never happened. And I would love to see LVP back though. Oh my God. That would be so epic. But I just don't think it's going to happen this season. It might happen the season after because I think, like yourself, I believe that Vanderpump Rules is on its last legs. And I think once that goes, yeah, she might come back.
I've never really entertained the show. And I'll tell you why. It's because Lisa isn't on it as much. I'm interested in seeing Lisa and her family rather than all these younger people what's acting like idiots.
Well, the thing with Vanderpump Rules, it's just a different show now. Like, it's still not the same kids who are like schlepping it in a restaurant, trying to make ends meet and dating each other and sleeping with everybody. Now they all like are married or divorced and have kids, and they all live in Encino right next to Dorit and Kyle.
Exactly.
They all live in the valley. So it's like not even the same show. But I am interested. This is what I'm actually interested in. I want to see Garcelle's son Oliver on the show.
Yes.
And I want to see him because he's going to make out with that girl Raquel.
Yeah.
And don't forget, remember when his I guess wife still, I don't know, I don't think they ever got divorced. Remember when she was on Instagram being like, he's cheating on me. He's filming Vanderpump Rules right now. Be sure to follow and subscribe Sunday nights at 10. It was basically like this whole promo for Vanderpump Rules that she had posted and all that stuff. Remember?
Did you see the pictures of Garcella's son and Lisa Vanderpump recently on Instagram?
Mm-hmm.
Because when they put up pictures, it means something.
Yeah, that's always subtext, isn't there?
Yeah.
They're promoting the new Vanderpump Rules season it's about to air pretty soon. So they've all been doing promo for Vanderpump Rules. And he's a friend of the cast now. And then Garcelle also makes a cameo because remember Lisa Rinna was really pissed off and upset because Garcelle and Lisa Vanderpump were filming together. And everyone was like, oh, is Vanderpump going to make a cameo on Beverly Hills? But it was Garcelle making a cameo on Vanderpump Rules because her son works there.
That's right. I remember that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Candy, I think we're going to be mud wrestling. when my knees better, because we going to be having a showdown about this Salt Lake City. Andy Harrington is brilliant, and I love the bits. And you can stick with Lisa Barlow, and we can hash it out. I'll win.
I honestly have a problem with Salt Lake City because I don't like any of them. There's not one woman on that show who I like.
Wait, you guys, keep talking about Beverly Hills. I'm going to make a quick image for Salt Lake City, and we can transition to talking about Salt Lake City.
Let's do that. Okay.
The situation with Beverly Hills is I really don't want Brandi to come back. She's not the right fit for the show. She's not expensive. She downgraded it when she was on. I don't like physical violence. I don't like people throwing drinks in people's faces, even though I couldn't stand Eileen. I thought it was a bit low rate. And I know she got bullied in her first season by the Richards sisters, but it doesn't give her the excuse to turn into a monster later on with the rest of the cast.
Didn't she slap LVP?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's every time she has a drink, Sarah, she cannot control her behaviour. It was the same on Big Brother in the UK. Keep alcohol away from Brandi because she's vicious with it.
Yeah, she really shouldn't drink. She's one person who really can't handle a drink at all. And like you say, she turns into this beast whenever she has a drink. But I also feel with Brandi, the only good thing about Brandi is I don't think she's a liar. I think she talks.
She's got no filter, though. That's the problem.
She has no filter, but I don't think she's a liar. I think what she says is true. I think you can I think she's bankable in that way. But yeah, I agree. She's got no filter, no class. She's an embarrassment, really.
She was best on the Ultimate Housewives trip, period. That's where she was good at, what I thought. And
I agree.
And I know that people saying like Phaedra and that on the show. They say that Ultimate Housewives trip, the second season was amazing, I thought. Miles better than the first one. The first one was just boring compared to the second one. But like I say, Eva should have stepped up a bit more in it because she was more concerned about her main job, that wasn't a good look. Phaedra didn't really say much. She was just like there, like giving the odd, like
Eva Marcel. I just love everything Eva Marcel does.
I love Eva too. I agree with Barbara. Brandi does lie. I think she makes stuff up to be relevant. And I think in her mind, she doesn't think she's being malicious. I think she's just trying to survive. I think she just needs the money. She needs the screen time. She needs to be relevant. And I think she lied on Denise. I don't think that happened with her and Denise. I think that was a lie. Yeah, I think she did it to try and get back on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. They used her for that, and then they didn't even bring her back. She still doesn't have a diamond back.
I don't know. I kind of believe that her and Denise could have had a moment, and because Denise is a bit like, well, she has a reputation for being quite wild, and I wouldn't put it past Denise.
There's someone else in the audience which should be really up here because he has his own channel as well. He should be talking, Emmanuel, because he's really good at this. But Candy, like I'm just saying, do you know the housewife what's supposed to allegedly coming? What's Kathy's friend? Is she definitely coming as the new housewife?
As Kathy's friend, I haven't heard confirmation on that. That's the thing. They haven't confirmed any fresh faces.
If Rinna out, they're gonna have to bring someone in.
Excuse me.
Yeah. I can't wait. Are you guys ready for Salt Lake City?
Bring it on.
Yeah.
All right.
And here they are.
Look at the first two in the line. Ugh. Ugh.
Honestly, all
Lord.
of them. This cast is, to me, the most objectionable cast because they're so boring.
They are.
You can't say Jen Shaw's boring. She's off her bloody rocker.
You know why Jen Shaw is boring now is because, like we say all the time, the work is showing. You can tell that she's acting. You know, even the judge said, you know, I'm judging her on the person she is, not the character she plays, that she's acting on a show. And the thing with Jen, it's like, if the actual popping off and all the craziness was really authentic, other than just her looking around and trying to be the loudest person in the room, then sure. But it was just too much of the same over and over and over again. And that's kind of why Jen Shaw got kind of boring and flat for me. And also, she so easily let other people play her.
Yeah.
Like, she so easily let Heather play her. She let Angie play her. She let Dana play her. Like, she got played, if you really think about it. Jen Shaw got played.
Yeah,
There's two people for me who I did like this season. And one's Meredith, because she's not a stupid woman. The other one is Angie Harrington. I'd say the third person would be Lisa Barlow. And then it would trail off with Heather.
What do you mean you don't like Whitney?
I can't like Whitney. I used to really like her in season 1, and then season 2, I started seeing what she was doing. And then season 3, she's manipulating all the women now so she can keep a snowflake on the show. Because the real damage is Heather might not actually stay on the show because of what the book she's bringing out, and it could really damage her reputation and her business.
I did wonder about her bringing that book out in, you know, considering she's got businesses there. But then I thought, are the Mormon crowd actually her clientele? I don't know how they feel about, what is it, plastic surgery and that kind of.
It's a
Oh,
health.
they
It's a beauty thing.
totally are. Oh, they totally people. Yeah, because she
It's
was
a big
saying
thing.
how like Mormonism they strive to be like perfect and all of that stuff. Oh, they totally
right.
are. And a lot of the most like quote like pious people are the ones who are in the dark, really doing the biggest dirt.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
It's
mean?
true.
They're the ones who are really. That's why I was always like, oh, the preacher, oh, the pastor, oh, blah blah blah, and it's
Exactly.
oh, the judge or whatever. Let's do something fun.
I did wonder. I wasn't sure if it was like permissible in the religion or what, because I don't know anything really about Mormonism, if I'm honest. Even though my granddad was converted to it in his 80s or something.
Yeah,
I think there was some pretty little farm girls came around making him drinks. I think that was what that was about.
Is that not Amish?
No. Mormonism.
I tell you what it is. Did you watch the final episode?
Yes.
I'm not happy about something. They cut out scenes what they should have kept in. I wanted to like Angie Kay, but she dropped the ball again and went low when Jen was trying to speak with Whitney and got herself involved again. I hated that. And I didn't like the bit where it just cut halfway through. They should have had considering they've cut it down this season. They should have had extra time for Jen's other part going to court. Seems so they've actually cut it down. You know what I mean?
I wonder if they'll do a special though, Karma, because Andy, didn't he get an interview like with Jen, like a one-on-one interview thing? So I'm wondering if he's going to do some kind of special with it.
He did, but for the actual last thing, it was just I felt I was robbed because you only saw so much of all of the women. You know what I mean? And I wanted to see that build up because you saw it in the clips, and I wanted to see it explode to see exactly what's going down and what's going on. And we just didn't get that. And I tell you what, I loved the fact that Angie Harrington and her husband apologized to Jen and Sharif, and they made up properly.
No. This is where you and I are so different when it comes to Salt Lake City. Let me break this down for you. Number one, Angie Harrington and her husband are the two fakest, phoniest people on TV you've ever can freaking imagine. One, allegedly, you know how when she first came on and she talked about her child, who I believe is transgender. Right. Word on the street is that she was just using that for sympathy and a storyline, but she actually doesn't accept her child, and they're at odds. Like they're actually not close. Now, I can't verify this tea, but this is the tea on the street. Do I believe it? Yeah, because she seems really fake and phony and just a hot mess. And she's clearly so jealous of Lisa Barlow. She wants to be Lisa Barlow. She wants to take her place. The whole thing with her coming on the show, she was friends with Lisa Barlow for years, and then she throws her under the bus to be friends with Whitney. That was stupid. The reason why she did that was because she thinks that Whitney is beneath her. Angie Harrington, to me, is the type of woman who she'll be friends with you for two reasons. One, she thinks she can get something from you, or two, she feels superior to you, so it feeds her ego. She's very narcissistic. That's why I think she got friends with Whitney, because she feels like she's better than Whitney, and she wanted to take Lisa Barlow down and claim her spot and take her diamond. Also, the reason why I think Angie Harrington and her husband are so fake, the only reason why they apologized was because they got caught. Yep. If Jen Shah had not caught them, they wouldn't have said a damn thing. And also, if you want to do a Instagram or some type of, fake social media account to go after Lisa, why call it Shah Exposed?
Because Jen's more popular, let's face it.
It doesn't matter, though. It doesn't matter. It's just BS. She doesn't like Jen Shah. She doesn't like Lisa Barlow. Who knows what's going on there? I'm not going to even talk about the race stuff when it comes to like Angie and Jen and Coach, whatever. That's just a whole nother conversation. But you put Jen Shah's name on there because you don't like her and you wanted to come after her. And you also wanted to come after Lisa Barlow. Lisa Barlow is a fan favorite. People stand for her. Lisa Barlow could be just as promotable as a Jen Shah. She did it because she wanted to go after both of them. She thinks she's better than Jen. She looks down on her and Coach, and she thinks that Lisa Barlow is better than her, and that's why she wants to dethrone her. It was nothing but another version of the Fox Force 5, because we saw them get together. We saw Angie K, Angie H, Dana, and Heather Gay. They basically were the new full Fox 5. That's why they had those side conversations. They had their side chats. And that's why, what's her face? It was either Angie K, I think it was, or Dana, who called out Heather at the dinner, was like, well, Heather, actually, when we all got together, you said that you wouldn't be friends with Jen if she gave you an ultimatum of whether it was Angie H or her. And Heather was like, oh, wait, no, that's not what I said, because Heather wanted to be down with them when they were all together, but in Jen's face, she would be like, no, I'm ride or die. She was flip-flopping. And that's when she got called out about it.
The thing what I want to mention as well, Candy.
I think that group of women wanted to take out Jen. They wanted to take out Lisa Barlow, and they thought they should be the snowflake holders on the show instead of these other women. And they were plotting to get them off and to get themselves on. But the gag is none of them even had a snowflake, because they were all basically the same exact personality. And then Dana and Angie K, everything they said was just the same exact thing over and over again. None of them had their own storylines. None of them had an interesting personality. Every single conflict or issue they had all went down to Jen Shah. And now Jen Shah is gone. What do they have? What's interesting about Angie H or Angie K or Dana?
I'll tell you what's interesting about Angie H.
What?
Angie H is the one what got Lisa's back up, and she wouldn't dare speak to her, and she didn't want to speak to her. Now I want to see the real Lisa Barlow come through. Not the fake one, the pretend nice one. I want to see the genuine real one. Not the one what's fake for the show, because I do recall in season 2, didn't she start kicking off because Meredith was wanting to be friends with Mary, and she didn't like that situation, and she undercut Mary talking about her business, a workplace, and so did Whitney. Now let's fast forward to season 3 when she was sitting having an ice cream with the ladies and saying, I thought businesses were off record. Come on. Sorry. You can't have both ways, Lisa.
I like Lisa Barlow. This is the thing. Basically, what Lisa was saying was, you are digging up stuff on my business to hurt me, like, personally and specifically, because Meredith was still on this stupid get back. And this is another thing. I get Lisa Barlow had the hot mic moment, but Lisa didn't say anything that wasn't already revealed or talked about. She didn't bring up any new allegations or new information against Meredith Marks. She just repeated what everybody had already known and said in a very snarky, bitchy way that Meredith Marks didn't like, but she didn't bring up any new allegations or new tea, versus what Meredith, Whitney, and Angie H were trying to do. They were trying to introduce new tea and rumors, which I think they both made up. I think it's pretty obvious that Meredith and Jen Shah got together and they made up that whole rumor about Lisa Barlow doing, quote, favors to get Vita Tequila distributed, when we all know what you infer by that is sexual favors. But because Meredith is still a lawyer, she knows she's not going to say sexual favors because she doesn't want to be liable for that. She's
Whitney's the one what said it.
Favors and let us infer that it's sexual. And then she almost choked on her Chardonnay that she was drinking when Whitney said, oh, I heard the same thing.
I know,
but she didn't actually hear the same thing. She heard something that was different. She heard from Angie H that Lisa Barlow had slept with or had given a BJ to some guy for tickets, jazz tickets or some tickets like that, which is different. Then Meredith Marks brought up the whole SEC filing stuff. Those are two very different situations. One is, I thought you were my friend. We're in a bad position. I'm really pissed. And I'm just reading you for filth for all the tea that's already been out there. Another one is choosing to bring up and make up new information, new rumors to go after your marriage and to go after your business. Those are two separate things.
I think the thing is as well, when you're talking about things Whitney said, Whitney is the easiest person in the world to spoon feed gossip to, because she's just going to come out with it. You can literally spoon feed it to Whitney. She's going to broadcast that.
Exactly.
And Whitney's probably my least favourite, if I'm honest, on the show. I think
I agree.
childish. I think she's
I
pathetic.
don't think Lisa Barlow's genuine. I'm just going to say it. And
I'm
I think
not a fan of Lisa Barlow. You know
this
that.
is going to be no. But the thing is, it's like Lisa's willing to forgive Whitney, even though she couldn't stand Whitney before, because Whitney said something what benefited Lisa. Now, Lisa's not a stupid woman. She knows what Whitney is and inside and out. So we can't play that "are we friends" game. They're not friends.
No.
Yeah, but they're equally using each other.
Yeah.
Like, I agree. I don't think Whitney and Lisa are actually friends. I think that Lisa Barlow was like, I need some allies because these chicks are coming after me. They're trying to take me down.
Because she was standing on his wall.
On the show. She's got nobody on the show, actually, has she?
Yeah. She really doesn't have anybody in the show because they're trying to come after her. So I think that Lisa, yes, is using Whitney to have an ally. And also because Whitney is so thirsty and is such a pick-me, she goes back and feeds everything that all the women are saying straight back to Lisa. So Lisa's smart in that sense. She's being strategic. She knows she needs some type of ally on the show. And she knows that Whitney will come back and tell her everything that's going on. She's basically an informant. Now, Whitney, on the other hand, is also still using Lisa. She threw Heather under the bus to be with Lisa because no matter what, Whitney still is that insecure little girl who wants to be cool and picked and is still very, trying to be validated by Lisa Barlow. But because she doesn't have enough self-esteem in herself, she'll never actually be friends with Lisa because in her mind, she'll never think she's good enough. And that's not coming from Lisa Barlow. That's coming from her own insecurities. That's why she should be like, well, you make me feel less than. And Lisa's like, I can't make you feel anything, which is true. Nobody can make you feel anything. That's her own stuff coming out.
Yeah, you control that.
And I think that this season would have been so much more interesting, so much more dynamic. A, if they had more housewives, and B, if Lisa Barlow and Meredith Marks were friends again. Because the hot mic moment should have been like one episode of Beef, and then they should have gotten back together, and they should have ran the girls. That would have been a really, really interesting dynamic show. But it got so stale and boring because they kept harping over the same thing over and over and over again because Meredith doesn't really have anything to bring to the show. So she thought instead of, if Meredith was smart, she would have been
Are you trying to say that Meredith Marks' fashions bring nothing to this show?
I mean, the feathers maybe, but that's it.
Are you trying to say
Brooks has got at least two
charity thing brings nothing to the show? Are you trying to say that Brooks, the queen that he is with the one tracksuit, brings nothing to this show?
Come on, Karma. He's got 2 tracksuits this season.
He's got 2 now with 2 different logo signatures on.
The packaging was nice.
Do you know what the worst thing is about Meredith's son? He's so handsome for a young man, and then he opens his mouth and it ruins it.
Mm-hmm.
He's so bitchy.
He's not very likable, is he? But Meredith holds on to grudges far too hard and far too long to be on a TV show, which is mostly about
having it hurt her. It hurt her, though, Sarah. Clearly, it's hurt her. What you say?
Well, this is the thing. I think she did it for a storyline. I think she wanted them to stop talking about the fact that her and Seth have an open marriage, obviously. I think that she wanted them to stop talking about the fact that Seth doesn't live there really. And that he, I don't know, switches job but relocates all the time. And that she didn't really have a true storyline of her own. She's very like other housewives where what is Meredith's storyline? She had a storyline through her son beefing with Jen Shaw. She had a storyline through
Lisa, the hot mic.
Lisa. But what's really Meredith? Like, what's her storyline? It would have been the fact that her and her husband had an open relationship, but they clearly got together to pretend like everything's hunky-dory again when we know that it's probably just like you do you, I'll do me, whatever.
And yet that would probably actually be quite interesting if they did open up,
Exactly.
The other thing with her is the breasts look like a breastplate. The work she's had done, they don't look like real boobs. And I know plastic surgery is sometimes hard initially, but when she was wearing all those low-cut tops, it literally looked like a breastplate. They're really, really disconcerting for me.
I'm wanting to view back. I don't know if it was you what said it, or was it Freddie Candy, that a new housewife is going to come onto this show, and she was with all the girls at the ski thing, but she wasn't actually on the camera. But she's supposed to be the new housewife coming up. No, it was Emmanuel what said that. He knew. Oh, you should have brought Emmanuel because he had the tea on the new housewife.
Well, we'll get the tea on her when she comes on, but of course they're gonna have to bring a new housewife. They can't have 4 with Jen Shaw going to jail.
We could do Jen Shaw in prison on Big Brother camera, watching her all the time, what she's up to. She probably got entertaining. I tell you what's funny about it is, Penny, I don't know if I told you this last year when I found out about Jen Shaw as soon as it dropped. I messaged Brooks on Instagram and asked him if he could make her a jail suit for when she goes to prison, saying so he's good at joggers.
Wait, who said that?
I said that to Brooks on a private DM.
Oh my goodness.
I thought if you do like an orange and black version of it, you know, like orange is the new black.
Do you know that would probably actually sell better than his actual collection?
It probably was.
The Jen Shaw collection.
I was getting him work.
Yeah, and then Heather this season for me on Salt Lake City has just been telling on herself constantly. It's been ridiculous watching her. Just constantly flip-flopping. I mean, that business with the black eye was so ludicrous. I mean, we all know it was Jen, allegedly. Let's just say allegedly. But I think we all know it was Jen. And Jen was just sitting there quietly, kind of look side-eyeing her. And the reveal, and then the no, I don't want to talk about it, and all that stuff. I mean, that's just typical Heather, isn't it? Everything she says is nonsense.
Been a beauty blunder, what went wrong for later on.
What you think?
And production tried covering it up as though someone was attacking her for a storyline because they were running out of storylines. That's what I heard.
It was bizarre that she had full makeup on that eye.
Yeah.
That was weird.
And people in the chat are saying that she was drunk and fell and hit her eye on a doorknob.
Probably did. I mean, I wouldn't put that past her either, to be honest.
I'm still standing by. I think Lisa Barlow hired Norman Bates and he knocked on the door. He swung for her and she ate him.
No,
I'm standing by it. It's more entertaining.
But yeah, I'm quite happy. I don't think Salt Lake's got a lot of legs left in it unless they really change up this cast. I mean, if they bring any of those 3 women that they brought on this year onto the cast, I'll be so annoyed. I won't watch it because I thought they were all vile and they had nothing. They had nothing.
I definitely think it's a beauty mistake. I definitely think the eye thing was a beauty mistake gone wrong on Heather's part. Probably at the salon, so she looks like perfect going. I think that's what's really happened. And they've tried using it as a story to cover up so it looks shady, like someone's attacked her, just for the drama.
See, the reason why I don't think that is because Heather is annoying in a lot of situations, problematic in a lot of situations, but I do think she's a very smart businesswoman and she does take a lot of pride in her business that she does and she's successful. So I think that if it actually was something that happened at Beauty Lab, she would not have milked it for as long as she did, because the more you milk something, the more questions, the more likely something's to come out about it. I think she would have been really quiet about it. She might have said something like, oh, I don't know what happened or something, and like let it go, because she is an attention seeker, but I don't think she would threaten her business that way.
Not her business.
That's why I don't believe that. I think it was either something happened when she was drunk and fell, or it was Jen, because she kept saying to Jen, oh, are we going to say it? And then remember when they were in the bathroom, when Jen got up and stormed out, Jen was in the bathroom, and it was also Meredith and Heather. And that's when Heather was talking about being a ride or die and snitches get stitches. So who was she snitching on? And
Candy,
she was saying how Jen, that she was going to keep her secret. I think something happened between Jen and Heather that did the black eye. It may not have been like a fight, but I think
she probably threw something at her, if I'm honest.
Jen,
I think she got annoyed with Heather, threw something, it hit her in the eye, black eye. And I do believe it was Jen.
Are you
body
trying to
language.
tell me? Are you trying to tell me, Candy, that Jen's left tit nipple end whacked her in the eye when they were drunk, and that's how she got that black eye?
Oh my God.
The image you're creating, Karma, it's not right.
Because I assume they are like bullets.
Yeah.
with those collagen and all that in them to keep them that size.
What are you eating, dog? My dog's found something to eat. Concerned. What is it?
Oh, Mandy, what about this New Orleans Housewives?
Yeah, word on the street is that the newest franchise is going to be in New Orleans, and there was like a casting call photo going around everywhere.
Interesting. I think that would be great.
Really interesting, yeah. And people were saying that they wanted people from Southern Charms, New Orleans, to be on it, but I'm like, no, I just want fresh faces. I'm so tired of recycling Bravo people.
Yes,
like enough. Like they're recycling Phaedra. Now allegedly she's coming on Married to Medicine.
I'm not a fan of that, by the way. The Phaedra on Married to Medicine, it's nonsense.
I wanted to go back to Raw and her and Candy have the showdown. I do. I do. Because it's the only thing that's going to pull people back in to squash that feud. To make that
I would rather. I just want, because I think this is the problem across all the franchises. It's just stale. It's just the same people, the same exact beefs from 5, 10, 3, 20 years ago. However, you know what I mean? It's just the same stuff over and over and over again. I think it's not that it needs a reboot or a revamp. It needs a refresh. We need fresh faces, fresh stories, fresh friendships, new, not actual beefs, but like new fun drama. We need the fun back. We need the freshness back, because right now it's just stale.
It's not just the fun. It's not just the fun. You need the glamour back. You need the lifestyle back, as well as having a kiki and shits and giggles, basically, because I'm so done with this fake drama and bringing everything down. Potomac, it's ruined it for me, and like this was never Potomac.
To me, each franchise.
And then Linda says, "Is she medicine?" This is the thing. They're saying that Phaedra is allegedly seeing a quote unnamed doctor. I don't believe that. I think that if she does get on Married to Medicine and she's dating a doctor, I think she's pulling what they used to say Kenya did, and she's just like buying a boyfriend.
Yeah.
I think that's
and it's just for the show.
What's happening with her marriage? Because there was no prenup. Is they taking her for what she's worth?
Who, Kenya and Mark? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a narcissist.
For such a smart woman, she done that stupid.
Crazy.
I think she just wanted love, and he was not the right person to give it to her, because he's not a nice man, is he?
No,
you don't marry your fans. Put it that way.
What I was going to say, we were saying about the franchise needs a refresh. I think all of them do, and I think they tried to do that with New York by bringing in the younger people, and it just didn't work. And I feel like the New York, it's because it's not about that New York one. It's about Upper East Side women. And I think New York could handle a couple of franchises. The more funkier, young downtown crew, they could have their own show. And it would be completely different. But I just feel like each franchise has its own USP. And that's what they should be doing, instead of trying, like you said, just keep bringing back the same dramas, the same people, the same beefs. For years. I mean, some of these beefs are like 10 years old. It's ridiculous.
I agree. And the problem is, like, the Bravo executives and casting and producers, they don't get it. Like, when we say we want a fresh, New York City has such like diversity, there should be a more diverse cast. We don't mean we want a bunch of young social media influencers and people who don't know each other, hodgepodge together. We mean we want the same type of housewife, but just not all the same, looking like Ramona. Like, they don't understand it. Like, they don't actually understand what diversity is and what inclusion is, and they just get it wrong. Like,
they threw together the group and it didn't work. I mean, Ebony,
it didn't work.
I love, but she was wrong on that show. It wasn't the right show for her.
100%.
The other girl, Leah, totally wrong crowd.
Totally
for her.
wrong.
And it was never ever going to go right. That wasn't it. It was a really misthought. Oh, sorry, I'm really stumbling over my words here. It was a really badly thought out kind of casting. That whole New York thing, I didn't get it at all.
Yeah, it was just a mess, just a hot mess. And you can tell that they're lazy in their casting because that Lizzie girl, she was supposed to be on Dallas. Right. But then that didn't work out. And then all of a sudden she's on New York. Like, that's where it doesn't make any sense. Like, the chemistry, the aesthetic of Dallas is so different from a New York. So how are you casting the same person for two very different shows?
Exactly.
Like, that's how you know they don't have their stuff together.
I mean, we were talking about Potomac, and we were saying, you know, people were saying, oh, we want some more younger people in it. And I said, yeah, but I don't get it, that Potomac is a young vibe. It's not like ever going to be that young, funky vibe. It's all about horses and politics over there. It's not really, and socialites. It's not really, mind you, they're not delivering on any of that either. But
exactly, I was just about to say,
But that's what it should be about. Where's the horse crowd? They would be interesting. Why are we not?
Exactly, Miss T. She says, I want married women who are friends or friendly and new faces. Exactly. And women who are actually wealthy. I want people who have long money, real money, and clean money. No more Erika Jaynes where the money is fraudulent, and no more of the women who are faking it and they're really broke and all this stuff. Like, no shade. But like Robin with the foreclosures and all this, that, and the third, miss me with that BS. You know what I mean? It's just miss me with it.
It's not aspirational, and that's one thing the show should be.
Yeah.
The situation is, Bravo's been going for a very long time, and they haven't done it the right way by bringing in new women each time and letting loose wires go. They've had them over a certain amount of years, so people are used to seeing the faces. And this is why it's not working, because people want to see the faces still, because they're that used to them being there. Whereas you get a portion of people will get sick of them because they've got no storyline and they're just watching wallpaper. And this is why Bravo does not get it and understand it. You've got to keep on bringing new people in.
But they have to make sense.
Yes, they have to make sense. And they've got to be real housewives. I'm not liking this fact where the single... Like, and you can hate us in the chat, but like Kenya on bloody Raw, she wasn't married. How could you call her a housewife?
Well, there's a lot.
How many years?
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
I didn't understand it. Yes, she brings drama, but she was not a housewife. The other thing was going back to Salt Lake. If they don't bring Mary Cosby back, they're going to have to make a replica, because we need someone like her on. We need the kookiness. We need the fun. We need the expense. We need the horrendous fashions, over the top, having a laugh, the outrageous houses, what she lived in. We need this back in this franchise. This is something to want to watch, light-hearted, inspirational, like what you'd want to climb to, and having a kiki with it and getting down and dirty now and then, which people do. But light shade, nothing serious. I am tired of this drama. This is why I don't watch the soaps in the UK, such as EastEnders and that. You might not know, Candy, but so depressing.
It's like, and that's another reason why they need fresh people, is because I think once you hit a certain wall in somebody's life, it's just they start to do things like Lisa Rinna did and what Giselle's doing and all the other people. They create the chaos and the drama rather than it organically happening. And that's when it goes dark, because that's when their intention is to bring people down, is to watch people squirm. Whereas watching people who authentically have, fun, conflict, and shade is one thing, but watching people sit around and manufacture it is another. That's why you have Potomac right now basically going all the way down to hell with like Ashley and Robin and Giselle and all that stuff, because they're manufacturing evil things to bring other people down. So if you would get rid of them and find fresh people, then they're starting from that place of, this is our lives and let's do it, rather than I have to make myself relevant and this is how I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not,
absolutely.
I'm not a woman, but the one thing I do not like seeing is a woman breaking her heart on a TV show because these certain women have went and calculated and done something to them. It is not good to watch. It's degrading towards women, and it sets them back when they should be advanced, uplifting each other and not pulling each other apart. I
That's where I
don't
think
know how
Wednesday
you think
happened.
as women, but I just don't like to see that. If it was deserved, fair enough, but you make up and move on, but not to the extent what it's going to on these shows. It's getting worse than soap operas. It really is.
I'm looking at this picture, the thumbnail of the ladies in Salt Lake City. It's ever so flattering. I was just thinking that one of their comedy moments was last reunion with the fashions. I've never seen the like of it. It was shocking, wasn't it?
I would
Some of the
like
vision.
to. I would like to see what they do with the new one, New Orleans. Hopefully, it'll be
Yeah.
along the lines of Miami, but a little bit more up.
I love Miami.
I'm wondering if they'll do like Mardi Gras and stuff, if it's going to be New Orleans and the live music and stuff and all that kind of thing. Because, yeah, I like seeing different parts. Like, I'm not American, so I like seeing different parts of America. So I find it more fascinating seeing all the different parts of America, whereas Americans will probably be used to these parts and think there's nothing great about them. This is why I like seeing Salt Lake, because we're not used to seeing places like that. It was the same in Dallas, even though it technically wasn't Dallas. And it's the same with Potomac. I never heard of Potomac before until they started shooting in Potomac. It's good to see parts of America, what the world doesn't get to see. Hello?
Yes, we're here.
Hi, I'm here. I had to step away.
We're just listening to you. Yes, that's very true. That's very true. I'm putting together a Miami little thing so we can talk about them a little bit too if we want.
Oh, the Miami.
Miami.
I love Miami. I've
They
just watched the latest episode.
Yeah.
They really do. They're a different kettle of fish altogether. I think they really work as a cast.
Mm-hmm.
They're probably the cast that works best together for me at the moment.
Potomac needs to drop the fakeness and get real like it used to be more.
I mean, theoretically, bringing Mia's friend Jacqueline on was a good move, but then Mia was so vile to her, it ruined it.
It was evil. They were evil.
So sort of theoretically, that's what I'd kind of like to see. Oh, there they are, my baby girls. I love them.
I love the fashion in Miami.
Sound off. What do you think about the girls?
This fashion in Miami reminds me of the times in the UK, house music 10 years ago. I absolutely love it. Glam to the hilt, going out proper partying. This reminds me of my times when I used to go out partying house music when I was younger. And I'm just loving the style. I'm loving the environment. I'm loving the houses. I want to see Nicole's because I still haven't seen it yet. And I love Alexia and Marisol. I laugh my back off every time she's walking around and in the confessionals half drunk. Marisol, this episode, she's been really good. She was very supportive with Lisa, giving her advice and trying to squash rumours when she was out with Alexia because people have been gossiping about Lisa like non-stop. Did you hear what that skunk did? Lenny Skunk. She went out in the papers.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm just like, girl, like, get some self-respect.
I don't think I know what happened. Tell me.
She went and said that their marriage was on the rocks for ages, and so was hers, and it's been going on for a while. News to Lisa. Wouldn't you think you would just keep quiet?
Actually.
Yeah.
No, I think that girl's telling the truth. I really do. I think Lenny has been trying to get away from Lisa for at least 2 or 3 years at the minimum. And he's been dropping hints. I think he's been making it clear to her, but I think Lisa's not listening. I think Lisa's just putting her blinkers on. No, we're staying married. That's what I want. We've got the kids, blah, blah, blah. But they're not happy. Why is she throwing parties with scantily clad, girls all over the place all the time for him to keep him happy? No, I really believe that Lenny's been dropping hints that it's over for a while.
I would rather have Lisa than that little skunk.
I think he's probably been dropping hints, but I don't think that they were actually separated. And
no, I don't think they did separate.
Those are two different things. I think that he may have been unhappy, but I don't think that what's her name, Lisa, thought that
she was fully aware.
Separated.
Yeah, I think he wanted to be separated, but I don't think he's sort of like, he's not made it concrete for her until now, and to get her to pay attention to what he wants, I think he's brought the girl into the house and gone, right, I'm doing it right in front of your face, because it's too extreme. Men are far more dodgy than that. They'll creep around behind your back before they do.
Yeah, but that's what I think. I think he was creeping around behind her back, and now he's trying to do damage control, and so is the mistress saying that. But I do think that Lisa was blindsided in the sense that she didn't, of like, one day you're together and the next day he's like, you need to move out with the kids and I'm moving my girlfriend in. That's a very harsh thing. I think that he is being played by this girl. I think she is playing him. I think she's probably sleeping with somebody else and they have some type of scam going to take this guy for everything he has. I think that Lenny, and this is not to absolve Lenny at all, because what he's doing is he's doing, but I think he's being played. I think this is going to be an episode of like Dateline or Snapped or something, but I don't see this ending well. I think there's something very malicious with this woman.
She has dollar signs in her eyes.
Yeah.
That's what she has.
Mm-hmm. Any con relies on the person who's being conned to have something, like to want something, to be greedy for something, and she's providing that.
Isn't there a saying?
Yeah,
you go for cheater, you end up getting cheated on.
Mm-hmm.
It's what's going to happen. Anyway, on a more vapid note, looking at the lineup, how stunning is Gertie, and I think Dr. Nicole's really pretty as well.
Yeah, Dr. Nicole looks like a blonde, what's her name? Christina Ricci.
Yeah, she does actually. I can see that.
Yeah.
And Gertie's face, like I've been saying this last night in other panels, her face shape is stunning. She has got the right head shape. It's just, yes.
Girl, but if there's one girl who doesn't fit the cast as well as the others, I think it might be Gertie. Somehow she seems on the periphery always, and I don't know if it's because the rest are, I don't know, Latina. I don't know.
I think she's trying to find a way where she's sitting, and at times it feels like she has to put up a front. But it's like I was saying before in another panel, she just needs to let that go. She's there, she's doing it, let it go. Just have fun with it. Someone be's feisty with you, stand up for yourself, girl. You know you can. You got the fire in you. Do it. Just have fun with it. That's all you need to do.
I think it's coming from insecurity. It's almost like a lesser version of like Chanel Ayan on Real Housewives of Dubai, where it's like the over the top, the super loud, the going, whatever. I think it's from some type of insecurity that Gertie has, but I like Gertie's personality more than I like Chanel Ayan's. And I agree. I think if Gertie would just like take a deep breath and chill and just like relax into it, it would be a much better fit. But I will have to defend Gertie when it comes between Gertie and Alexia for the wedding stuff. Alexia, girl, stop lying. You didn't want Gertie to plan your wedding. Stop lying. In every confessional, she keeps talking about Gertie's style. She's putting her down. She was playing her the whole time. And Gertie did the 100% right thing. She saw that Alexia was clowning her. And she was like, you know what? Vogue just said I'm the best event planner. I'm booked and busy, boo-boo. See you later. Because Alexia, stop lying.
Alexia is so shady, isn't she? I mean,
shady. And then she got in her feelings when Gertie started to blow up. When Gertie got named best event planner by Vogue, then Alexia got in her feelings because Gertie was starting to blow up. People liked Gertie, but Alexia wanted to clown her. So I'm team Gertie when it comes to that situation. Alexia, we see through you, boo-boo, on that one. And then when it comes to Martina and what's her face? Julia. Listen, that marriage is pretty much a wrap. And that started last season.
Yeah.
The way that Julia disrespected Martina and the way she was flirting with Adriana and doing all of that in front of Martina and off camera and on camera and all of that, If I was Martina, I would have been pissed.
I think she was. I really do.
I would have been pissed.
Martina did not look happy about that at all, I didn't think. I thought she had every right to be furious with Julia last season.
Yes. If my person was on national TV, rubbing somebody else's feet, kissing somebody else, flirting with somebody else, no. You're not going to disrespect me like that. And
let's be honest, Martina's the legend in all of this.
Exactly.
You know, if anyone should be the, the one sort of showing off for everyone, it would be Martina. Martina's an absolute legend. But yeah, Julia, she was very disrespectful. But they had a moment this last episode where they kind of spoke about the problems they've been having. And Julia actually opened up that she's quite insecure about Martina, because Martina likes to go skiing and things on her own, and she was opening up that she feels like, oh, Martina might leave her. So I do wonder with Julia if it's insecurity that makes her kind of flirtatious with people, because some people are like that, aren't they?
Yeah, she's trying to make herself like feel better and like pump herself up through the flirtation.
Like I'm wanted kind of thing. Yeah.
Exactly. What do you think about now when it comes to Larsa? I don't know how I feel about her. Because she keeps going after people. I will say this. I really did not like the way Larsa was fighting with Lisa and being like, oh, you just have Lenny's money. You just live off of him. I had got my own money to get this, apartment or whatever, condo, whatever it was. But I'm like, Larsa, let's be honest. You lived off of your husband's money for years, which is okay. And as you should. There is nothing, I hate that like stigma. There's nothing wrong with people who are married or people who are in partnerships, one having the money and one not. You're still together in a partnership. It doesn't make it wrong or anything like that. You're not a gold digger if you're in a partnership with someone and they just happen to be the person who makes money. And Larsa, you still go by Pippin. If you're divorced, if you're this independent woman now, why are you still milking the Pippin name? Right. And she was like, oh, I didn't use any of my divorce money, but you got divorce money.
And she also got a name off him.
Exactly.
Like she got the name. She would not be making that money on what's it called, OnlyFans, showing her feet, if she wasn't Larsa Pippen.
100%. She wouldn't have been friends with the Kardashians if she wasn't Larsa Pippen. She wouldn't have had the money and the lifestyle that she had if she wasn't Larsa Pippen.
And so likewise, Lisa was a cocktail waitress when Lenny met her.
Exactly.
So he wasn't expecting her to support him, was he? I'm guessing not. I mean, she probably made good tips in Vegas, but I'm pretty sure Lenny's making a lot more.
Exactly. So,
hey,
Karma.
I think Lenny's little skank tried getting me offline here.
Oh.
Don't you just love the internet? Yeah, I will never give up.
I must admit, I don't like Larsa's ways, and I'm not her biggest fan, actually. I think she's quite stuck up with all girls. She seems to think she's better than the rest of them, and basically she's the kind of Kardashian wannabe. I think she's quite upset that didn't come off completely. I don't really like her very much, if I'm honest.
And to that point, Miss T has another good point. Larsa won't admit to her BBL. That's another thing. It's like, girl, just admit you got a butt job. Just admit it. Gaining weight doesn't give you that, sweetheart. If it did, we'd all be gaining weight.
Right? But can Larsa just admit that Kris Jenner does not want another daughter? Stop trying to replicate the Kardashians. You're not one. Mm-hmm. Stop trying to be extra on the show, looking for any argument, which is frivolous and pointless. It's reaching, it's thirsty. Girl, seriously, you do yourself no favours. Did you see the argument what she was having with Dr. Nicole?
Mm-hmm. I didn't. I can't remember that bit.
The flashback, Nicole asked her a simple question and she ran down her throat. And then she said, oh, I've heard all these rumours that you've been sleeping with all the doctors and everything like that going on. And I'm just like, that's hearsay. Stop chipping in people's faces because that's quite offensive. And bringing it on the camera, you haven't really got beef with her. You just need a storyline. So silly.
Yeah,
She
because
hasn't got much of one, has she, really, Larsa?
No.
Larsa's a mess because Dr. Nicole called her out. She's like, you keep bringing up my ex and you keep saying, who's a teacher, which is very dismissive. And, and Larsa being all like, oh, well, you live off of Lenny. But she's like, well, I was married to a Pippin when you're married to a Pippin. So it's like, pick a side. You're still being hypocritical. Yeah. And then you are putting down Dr. Nicole's ex-husband, who's a teacher, which I think is a more admirable job than any of what these people are doing, teaching children. And exactly. Unfortunately, in our country, it's literally putting your life on the line, given everything that happens in our schools. I don't even want to get too political with like the.
Oh, you're right.
All of that. I know exactly what you mean, Candy.
But it's one of the most admirable and scary jobs you can actually have right now. So Larsa really missed me with that, and her saying, oh, I heard you slept with all the doctors. That can really hurt Dr. Nicole's reputation in her career. That's a really big thing to say to somebody. You slept with all the doctors at the hospital. That's huge. I hope Dr. Nicole reads her for filth. I hope she does the whole housewife thing. I'm going to sue you for libel. I'm going to sue you for defamation. They love saying that, right?
Right.
I hope she says it. Her husband is a lawyer, or her fiance is a lawyer. I hope she does, because that's dead wrong. And I think everybody should do whatever they want, but there is a huge difference between being an esthetician an anesthesiologist and showing your feet, your alleged, quote, only your feet on OnlyFans. It's a huge difference, boo-boo.
Yeah. I tell you what made my heart melt when Alexia's son said to the women, my mum's a saint. I was just like, oh, why can't I have children? And they say that about me.
He was so cute about his mum.
But the other thing as well, did you see Julia and Martina having their romantic meal and she burnt the fish? And then she come out with that storyline saying about adoption. The first thing what came to my mind is, can they adopt at that age? Because I know over here certain laws is you've got to be like a certain age, because sometimes you can be too old.
No, you can adopt, but you have to adopt older children usually.
Like this is what when I seen the mid-season cut, it's coming into saying there's going to be issues with her trying to adopt because of her age, and that's what I was sitting in the show watching, thinking, is there going to be issues because of the certain age? You know what I mean? Going back and forth, because I've seen it on other like programs about adoption and actually spoken to people in real life about adoption. And they're very judgmental when it comes to age. So I was just wondering, Candy, is it like that in America as well?
I'll tell you what, 3 times I went through the adoption process and I had to give up, because every time I had a new consultant, or I got changed from one consultant to another, I had to restart the process. And I'm just saying, because Martina's sick, that is really going to throw a spanner in the works.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to want to bring a child into a family that's going through such a traumatic thing. So there's no way they'll be able to adopt until that's resolved.
They've caught it in time, though. They've caught it earlier.
And I think, and I don't mean to be insensitive, but I also think they probably shouldn't adopt, because it seems like they're trying to use a child to save their marriage.
The glue for the marriage.
It's glue for the marriage, and not so much that they actually want to, bring a child into a happy, healthy home. It seems like in order to keep our home, let's get a child here.
Yeah, it's a new focus.
They don't even have dinner together, and like the only thing they talk about are the kids. And now that they're empty nesters, they don't even spend time together. She's off at Aspen, she's off at the farm, and they can't even stand each other, seems like. So it seems like they're using the child to be glued to the marriage, and that's not fair to the child.
No,
she's got empty nest syndrome, and it's clearly shown. Hence, all these animals to keep her company, and to be around all these animals and everything. Martina said to her, "I'm not going nowhere, so there's nothing wrong with coming up and spending a couple of weeks in Aspen." She even said to her, "She says, do you think I want to go with women when I've got you with us?" She's asking Julie basically come away on holiday with us, spend some time with me.
She doesn't have to ski. There's lots to do there.
Yeah, it's like spend quality time together.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I see that goat, I just want to go and put my pot on and make a curry.
Oh my God, no! the
Elvis is going in my pot for sure.
Every time, like put it this way, it seems so they both got money, they both are in love. I don't think it would be a bad thing adopting someone a bit more older and a bit more mature, and to give someone a home. And they will give love to that person regardless. You know what I mean? You see the way Julia is.
No, but I think it puts too much pressure on the child. I think anytime a couple either has a child or adopts a child because they want to save their marriage, it doesn't work. It's not healthy for the child and it's not healthy for them. Hey, Tian.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi, good. Do you want to sound off?
Yeah, first of all, I'm loving the conversation. It's so cool to hear, a couple people that are not from, the States kind of like have like a look through it, look at what we're seeing through their lens. It's really cool. About the adoption thing, my aunt is 50 and she was able to adopt. So I don't know how old the other people were that you were speaking of. I don't know how old they are, but you can adopt at 50. You have to foster first and then adopt.
So I was wanting to know what the laws are over there because obviously they'll be different than the UK's.
Yeah,
and you know what I mean.
And it's like a subjective, right? It's by case. But yeah, you're able to do it when you're older. But I believe as Sarah was saying, if you have some ailments, they do take that into consideration.
Exactly. I mean, you can be 50 and super fit. I mean, if you're really fit, you might have another 50, 60 years left in you. So it's ridiculous not to give a child a home on that basis.
Yeah.
But but if you're not well and your marriage is a bit shaky, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Oh, and then on overall, I think the Housewives, it's becoming so contrived.
Yes.
I think it's almost like a copy and paste across the franchises
of the
blueprint. We know there's going to be we know there's going to be someone that's going to take the bunt of everything. We know that the person that has no storyline or that's no one in their life is going to be the one that's going to talk the most, and be the quote unquote bone carrier, right? So I think that it's in the beginning it kind of worked because it was all brand new, but we're smart, we're savvy, the viewers know exactly what's going on, so you can kind of almost within the first 2 episodes kind of narrate the rest of the season easily.
Yeah,
that's why I normally make fun of them on other panels because it's more entertaining because that's how stupid they are half the time.
I mean, like you say, each franchise has got its villains and its victims, and it's all the same at the moment. And I think you're right, that is what's wrong with it. It doesn't feel natural, and a lot of the groups are not natural groups at all, are they?
No.
Even if you had 2 little natural groups within the franchise, it would work better, but they seem to be so separate. They don't seem to gel, a lot of these women, and that's when it starts falling down. And then the other thing is you've got people like, say, Giselle and Robin on Potomac, and they are a duo and they are friends genuinely, I think, but they're so vile and vicious about their friendship, and trying to control the narrative of everyone else on the show and decide who's going to be on and who's going to be off. I don't like the cast producing the show.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of the new speaker? I can't see your name properly. The screen's get tiny because I'm on the ScreenYard thing. The other guy who's come in.
Oh, Tian.
Yeah. Who's your best housewife and which franchise do you like the best of the housewives?
Okay, well, first and foremost, Nene Leakes is probably hands down one of the best housewives. It just read everybody for filth, had the best one-liners, is the most mean. I think she is just kind of authentically Nene, and I think that's really cool.
She's funny too. She's funny.
Very funny, very funny. Unfortunately, whatever happened and transpired, that's super, unfortunate. I really like Karen Huger. I think she's really cool. I think she's like really funny as well. Marisol from Miami, I think is just phenomenal, and I miss her mother, her mama Elsa.
Yeah.
She was so cute.
Iconic.
Yeah, I love her. When she went around her PR agency and was throwing like rice on people and spraying them with some like perfume. Funniest thing. And then she just asked one girl like, "Do you want to get married?" And then the girl was like, "Yes." And so she just threw rice on her. I thought, I think like those are Nene Leakes hands down. If there's anybody that's on, the Real Housewives now, Karen and I would say Marisol.
How did you feel about Karen's sort of thug life moment at the end of last episode with Charisse?
I'm not gonna lie, I have not been watching.
I've never seen Karen like this.
Yeah.
You have to catch a clip, Tian.
Okay, yeah.
Karen was angry. She was
really?
not happy.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the Madame, went mad. I'd have to check it out. Yeah. I think it's so weird, right? Because I mean, what's so sad is before we'd be so excited for these episodes, and now you can just like really, do like look online and see clips, and that's it. You get the whole gist of the episode, like through that.
I know what he means.
Don't you think? At the moment, with these, with the housewives, there's a lot of viewer apathy. People aren't happy.
The guy's right though. What he said, it's like they all following the same blueprint. They need to stop doing this where it's copying each one because it's not working. Everyone is unique and different on these shows, and that's how they should be behaving. Because that's what makes them genuine, real women when they mix normally together and not being forced to mix like in certain ways. And that's where you start seeing the realness come through and the best personalities coming out. I just think bravo, they do it silly with this silly like soap screenwriting. It's just amateur hour.
Yeah. Totally. I think it's just overproduced by the producers and by, the cast.
Yeah.
I think producers are telling people you need to amp it up, you need to do this. So they do something that's totally left field. And you're like, where did that come from? Or why is that even an issue? And then, the cast feels, a very, they're like kind of forced to kind of do something extra and out of character. So then it seems very contrived and be like, I have to make up this stupid argument with this person, when I'd rather see them like maybe like get like silly on a trip, you know what I mean, and see how like rich they are and like all that fun stuff and little
like when the New York girls went to, was it Key West or St. Bart's, and they were just hilarious the whole trip. They had so much fun and it was so much more pleasant to watch. I really enjoyed it. When the Countess fell in the bushes and she was running after the pirate and all that. I mean, it was just so much fun, and that's lacking for me now. It's all too bitchy, and I like a bit of bitchy, but it is too much.
I agree. It's like they need to let the women just be talent and them not being producers, because you do see the work when it shows. Like you see Kyle stirring the pot. She has no storyline, but she's trying to produce it. You see Giselle and Robin trying to produce it. Like when the work is showing, it's no longer fun because it's so contrived. And then even and then they always tell on themselves, because remember in Potomac, I think it was the second episode or third episode of this season, when Giselle was lying to Candace about her husband Chris being flirtatious and all of that stuff. And she got up and she was like, nope, I'm not doing that. And she broke the fourth wall. And she said, I want Eric to come here, the producer. And that to me exposed everything, because she looked at him and she goes, you know what they're doing. You're in on it. You know what they're doing. So to me, that means the producers know that the women get together to make up lies and to make up storylines to know who they're going to go after, who's going to be the villain, who's going to be the target, what's going to be the storyline, which means it's not real. It's all fake and contrived.
And Candy, can I ask you something?
And so are they.
Can I ask you something? We're talking about like this situation with Giselle and Chris and things like that. Is it true that the girls can't sue each other for things that happen on the show?
That's under contract, isn't it?
Is that in the contract? Because I heard this and I don't know if it's true or not.
I mean, this is the thing. I heard that the girls can't sue. It's under contract, but then you had Candace trying to sue Monique, and then you also had Nene suing Andy and Bravo. So, and you had Mariah Huq suing Bravo as well and NBC. So I don't know. They say that's in there, but we've had them sue each other.
I feel that, and I don't know, right? I haven't seen
Candace did sue Monique, and then she threatened to countersue, and then it got dismissed.
But I think that's what happens is that they try to, right? And then it ends up going into like, arbitration or settling it on your own. I think they use it as, a means to be like, I'm serious, knowing that it's never going to go and like, they can't sue them, I think
it feels like they can't, because if I was Chris and Candace, I would be really, really pissed off with what was, said this season.
It's damaging.
But I think it depends on what it is, because I don't think that a contract can trump the government law. Like, no. I don't think that you can put into a contract that if somebody physically beats you up or hurts you, that you're no longer allowed your constitutional rights. I don't think that a contract can negate your constitutional rights. That's why I think any good lawyer will get you off that. Don't forget, Kandi Burruss sent cease and desist as well to Portia when Portia was repeating the lie that Phaedra told her. She sent cease and desist, being like, if you don't stop, I will sue you. So housewives have sued each other, and Bravo and NBC have been sued by housewives.
But has a case ever been accepted where, a judge is in front of them saying, hey, I'm accepting this case for you to sue this person? Also,
yes. Okay, Nene against Andy Cohen, NBC, and Bravo. Even though it was dismissed without prejudice, meaning that she can sue again, it was submitted and it was reviewed by a judge. And the fact that it even became a lawsuit means that she had the ability to sue. And then Mariah Huq also sued Bravo and NBC for copyright infringement and intellectual property infringement, because Married to Medicine is Mariah Huq's show. That was a concept by her. That's why if you watch it now, it still says executive producer Mariah Huq and concept by Mariah Huq, because she brought the show to Bravo and they were trying to steal it and take it away from her. And in my opinion, we haven't heard anything, but if you still watch now, her name is still on it. I think they settled out of court. I think they just gave her a little check and they settled it, and she went on with her life, and it is what it is. But if you watch the show today, she still gets that credit. So I think they just gave her a check to shut up and go away, basically. Yeah.
So maybe they just hang their salary over their head, right? And say, like, if you sue someone, then you're automatically forfeiting your spot on the show, so you're not going to have this income for next year. And that's why it probably doesn't, go any further than that, to like mitigate there be like millions of lawsuits, right? Because Kenya could sue Portia for
I'm sure there's like clauses in the contract that are like, you were not liable for X, Y, and Z. I think it's more so around reputation, defamation, and libel, stuff like that. Like, oh, you're making a storyline about me, or you edited me in a wrong way, or you're lying on me. I think it's more about you can't sue about that stuff. But when it comes to like Monique and Candace having a physical altercation, and when it comes to like intellectual property, and it comes to like, Nene saying that there's racism institutionalized, you can sue for that because that's your constitutional right. But I think in the contracts, it's more like you can't just go around saying, I don't like the edit I got, or I don't like this woman talking about me, or I don't like that stuff. I think it's more of like defamation, libel, things like that. Like they'll threaten it, but they're not really going to do it. I think it's more of that stuff. But I don't think that there's a contract where if somebody physically hurts me, I no longer have my constitutional right to sue them.
What's the rumor about Nene wanting to come back on the show?
Nene is so thirsty. But
I can't see it happening after she tried suing them.
I will say that every single wife who has left the show always wants to come back, and that's including Bethany. And now Bethany's doing it by proxy. Now she's doing it by a podcast. They feel that they get a little too big for their britches, and then and then go on and do all this stuff. Now, I'm not, negating or saying that there is not racism or anything that's happened. I'm not negating anything that what Nene has, come forward with saying. But I think sometimes, especially with the Bethany, kind of thing, is she thought that she was too good for everyone, and she had like a sense of, she was so arrogant, at one time, and she was so buddy with Andy Cohen, and Andy Cohen did and does play favorites, that she thought that she can go on and be bigger and better. But what happens is that once you become a fame whore, you will sell anything and do anything, including your morals, dignity, and respect, to continue to be on television. And I think that's where Bethany came in very likable and kind of rural, and I think exited very arrogant, and very ungrateful, uncharismatic in the way that she was before, extremely condescending, and that's kind of very much a turnoff.
I agree with you, and I definitely see the parallels between Nene and Bethany. I think both of them came on very likable fan favorites, and Nene really did put Bravo and the Housewives on the map. Like, no one can take that away from her based on her personality, who she was. She would show up and be a Reed. She would show up and be a Kiki. But I agree. I think ego got the best of both Bethany and Nene. And I actually think that Nene probably could have come back. I think that if she had just taken the pause and chilled for a bit, worked on some other project, got a little humility, I think that Bravo would have brought her back. I think where Nene went wrong was when she decided that she wanted to be the pioneer to stop racism and favoritism on Bravo, where it's like, does racism and favoritism exist? Yeah, guess what? It kind of exists everywhere. It's kind of systematic. Does Bravo have it? Sure. But Nene, you benefited from the favoritism. You had no problem being Andy's favorite. You had no problem getting favor with Bravo and NBC. But the moment you fell out of favor, then all of a sudden the racism and the favoritism was problematic, and it was all this, that, and the third. It's like right message, wrong messenger. Yeah. And I think that Nene is great television, but I think just like Bethany, her ego got the best of her. And I think that Bethany has to eat a little bit of, crow, a little bit of humble pie, because she's trying to act like her podcast Rewives is like so like highbrow. Like, no, we're going to talk about the Housewives, but like in a human way and really look at blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's what we're all doing on YouTube, sweetie. That's what we do.
I must admit, I've never listened to the podcast.
That's what we're doing right over here. That's what we're doing right now. So like, Bethany, humble yourself. And then she was trying to be a beauty influencer on TikTok.
Oh my goodness.
All the way out. And that's the thing. It's like money and fame, no matter what, still cannot give you that sense of like peace and completion and self-esteem. Because Bethany does have the money and she does have the fame, and yet she's still out here thirsty.
Yeah, she doesn't need any more money. She's got plenty.
Yeah.
I'm wondering how long it's going to be until Ramona does it. I think that's
like
we're seconds away from that.
No, Ramona's doing real estate now. She's flipping it like Disick.
Yeah, exactly. But she's going to want to come back to the Housewives at some point. She is.
They all do. They all want to. They all want to. I think another thing too. I think what the Nene thing is. I think if it would have just, if she would have just stuck with like the racism that like she experienced or witnessed, it would have been great. But she started going in and being like calling Andy Coke, you know what I mean? And once you start like doing things like that, it for the general public or just people on the outside looking in, or just in general, they kind of, it minimizes the bigger picture and what the fight that you were fighting for, right?
Calling them their own sword, basically, instead of keeping their mouth shut and just going with it at the court.
Yeah, she made it personal between her and Andy, and actually the subject was racism, and it's an important subject. And I think you're right, Candy, it probably was the wrong messenger. But then if she'd stuck to her guns, like Tian's saying, if she'd have stuck to her guns and faced that as the issue, I think we might have had a bit of respect for Nene. But she didn't. She then started dragging Andy, which was ridiculous. I mean, that's the stupidest thing ever to do.
Yeah. But the thing is, I don't even think Nene should have brought up racism at all. Like, and I say this because I am a Black female, and I honestly don't think Nene should have brought race into the equation at all, because I don't think that Nene herself actually faced racism from Bravo or NBC. Does racism exist institutionally in that corporation? Probably. Racism is such a huge, insidious thing that on some level we all have to deal with. Of course it exists. Of course it's there. But I don't really think that has anything to do with Nene and NBC and Bravo. She just got too big for her britches, and she thought she was too big to fail, and they checked her really quick, and she got her little feelings hurt, and she was like, well, how can I get them back? Oh, let me talk about racism and favoritism. And she's like, oh, you know, Kim said racist things to me and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Kim did. I get that. And Kim got the spinoff. You didn't like it. I get it. But to me, talking about that stuff devalues it when it's like that actual real racism, that real microaggression, that real, you know, plight that people have. Yeah. To me, Nene, like missing, like I'm just so confused. And it's like, if it was so racist for you, Nene, why did you stay so many years? And then why did you come back again? And then why do you want to be back on it now? I'm sorry, but if I'm at a place and I have racism where it's so deep that I feel I need to sue the company, there's no way in hell I would come back.
No. Yeah. I totally get that, and I mean, I'm not, you know, I'm brown, but I'm not black, so I you know, I can't really, you know, speak from a black person's perspective, but I can speak from a perspective where you work somewhere and like you kind of put your all into something and you allow some sort of abuse, and you kind of just really say, oh no, but they gave me this opportunity, and you know, and they raised my salary, and I do this, and you know, and they're like, you know, working you like a dog and like, you know, down to the bone. So I can kind of see like where that, you know, where Nene kind of was like, wait, like I invested my time, you know, all that stuff, and like I love working here. However, there's this one thing, and then like now in hindsight, and also her whole entire world was falling apart, right? Greg was dying, and you know, all this other stuff. Not saying that making anything right or wrong, but I can just kind of see from a kind of empathetic point of view, like
you let certain things slide sometimes because you're gaining in some way. And
I want to ask a question.
Wait 1 second, Sierra. I dropped the link if you want to join, sweetheart. But I will say this: it's almost like what you're saying is almost like enforcing what I'm saying, where it's like there are people who are on jobs who actually have to endure like real racism, real microaggression, real gritting the teeth, all of that stuff, because they're really trying to survive, not trying to be on a reality show. Like that's what I mean, where it's like we have to get it in perspective. Like if you want to take this plight being like, I'm fighting racism at NBC and Bravo, but let me be back on the reality show. Like, girl, come on, girl, bye. Like you just want the money, and you just want the fame and the platform. Where there are real people who have to grin and bear it because they need to put food on the table, and they need to keep, you know, a roof over their children's head, or, you know, this is whatever the case may be. That's more what I mean by it. Like, I
kind of feel like Ebony has a case for it.
There you go. Or Ebony. It just seems more like Nene, you got your feelings hurt. And I love Nene. You know, we would not have the Housewives the way we have it without her. She has a fantastic personality. She's funny as hell. She can give the reads. But just like Bethany and some other people, she got bit by pride. Yeah, that's really what it is. That's really the situation with Nene. She's fantastic. She's good TV. She's funny. It's not racism. It's pride, girl. Because there are some people who are really going through it.
And the truth is, it's supposed to reflect real life. So, like you say, racism is out there, colorism is out there, featureism is out there, sexism is out there. There's a lot of things wrong with this society, and actually seeing it on the screen sometimes makes it more visible for people who don't experience it themselves. As a white person, like I'm watching Potomac and I'm thinking, what the hell, how dare they treat Wendy like that? Now I know a lot of people don't believe in the colorism thing, but I do. I see it and I'd hate it. I think it's absolutely disgusting, but maybe I wouldn't have seen it as easily if it hadn't been on the TV. So in a way, sometimes it's not all bad. It kind of gives other people an opportunity to experience it through sort of.
This is the question what I want to ask.
Yeah, but that's the difference. Sarah, I think that's a really good point, though, because I think there's a difference between showing racism and colorism, sexism, homophobia, all of that in the context of the show itself within the inner women dynamics versus Nene, who was saying, I'm taking on NBC as a corporation.
Yeah.
You know, those are two very different things. You know, having it on the screen, having the women go through it, seeing it, being a part of it, being immersed in it. Like, you know, I'm a straight woman, so I'm never going to know what it actually feels like for like homophobia or something like that. But if I can watch a show where somebody is being, you know, put down or discriminated against because of their sexuality, I can be like, oh, now I see what that feels like.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are two different things. And I agree with you. Being able to watch the women go through those big issues is meaningful and does have value. But Nene being like, I'm taking NBC down, I was like, girl, go sit down somewhere.
But finally ask me question.
Yeah, sorry. Lord Karma had something to say. Ask a question.
Go Karma.
Yeah. I want to ask this. I don't want to be controversial. I'd want people to be open-minded when I ask this question. Do you think Bravo is deliberately doing this with the housewives and these stories to get the audience riled up so they watch and go crazy? Because I'm just putting it out there because it seems, especially with Potomac, the audiences on YouTube and the way the crowd's reacting, it's they experiencing their own personal issues themselves, what they may have went through life. And Bravo are just eating off it and making money out of it. And I find it quite sick when these women don't have to behave like this or act like this, if you know what I mean.
I have a theory. And my theory is we just will not stand for racism, colorism, and all the rest of it like we used to as a society. Since George Floyd and we've had the Black Lives Matter and things, I think
it should have never been going on in the first place.
It shouldn't have been, but people used to kind of allow it because we were used to seeing it. And I think now people are a lot more aware and they're a lot more ready to say, no, we're not going to stand for that. We're not having that. And I think the new generation coming up are even more stronger in this.
Totally. Yeah, we're not afraid to speak about it. But I think the thing about it is the lack of accountability where some people can't just sit back and be like, okay, cool, let me hear you out and like why you feel this way. That's not what I need to do when you show them down. And by the way, colorism exists in plenty of different ethnicities, you know.
It exists in every ethnicity, I think.
Like if you just, so it's just I'm happy that it's being shown and that it does exist and it's not just some made up thing, that people like to believe that it's like that doesn't exist, but yeah, that's
me and Sarah were talking about this, and I'm going to say something. Please keep an open mind. In Caucasian life, white, whatever you want to put it, there are different levels of skin colors. Now, put it this way, I'm 2 shades of an albino with red hair, and I can't go out in the sun because I burn. And I was bullied from being a child going all the way up because of my coloured hair and my white skin. And this is coming from
bullied by an adult as well, weren't you?
Yeah, and this is coming from other white people walking tan and things like that. Now, I've had that all my life. So when I see people on about other people, like in different ethnic groups, when it's lighter and darker skin, I can see where they're coming from and why kind of they feel the way they do. And that's in every ethnic group where they feel like isolated and they feel like they're not treated the same. Well, I'm trying to say it happens in every single ethnic group.
See, I didn't know that there was like colorism within white people, though. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's really hard.
I think the difference is, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to interrupt. The difference is that you probably weren't, you were probably provided the same opportunity as every other, kind of white person, right?
Yeah.
There's a little bit of, actually a lot of bit of difference, right? You were, you were, to be perfectly honest, privileged to walk in and be a white person and do this, introduce yourself as a white person, no matter how light you are, if you have ginger hair, or whatever. It's very different when you're coming from a person like of color, where you do get looked down upon because of your last name or
However, I'm a white person, but I'm half gypsy traveller, and we are the last form of acceptable racism in this country.
Mm-hmm.
You can call me a thief, a pike. I've worked at the highest levels of government most of my life. You can call me all these things because my grandmother was a gypsy traveller. It's okay though. You can say all those things about me, and get away with it in this country. By the way,
Exactly.
So there is that.
But I think what it is, I get what you're saying, Karma, and I'm so sorry you went through that. I'm going to be as empathetic and sensitive.
No, I can just see on certain levels where people are coming from.
Yeah, no, I get it, but I think it's one thing for an entire race of people to be villainized and segregated and targeted against versus I totally understand what you're saying, that you felt very othered because of the albinoism that you have, and I totally understand that. But it is, I get what you're saying, but there's a little bit of a different nuance between having an entire group of people targeted. It's a little bit different. And even in that situation, you would still have more privilege than other complete groups of people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's that thing of having white skin, being able to walk into a room and nobody does know your background. So even if you, like Meghan Markle's going on about, like, she passes for white in America, right? We need to talk about her at some point, Candy. But I mean, she was talking about that, and like that afforded her a certain amount of privilege.
Yep.
Because she felt like she passed. I don't think
she has a close proximity to whiteness. Yeah, absolutely. And they be talking about that in like the telenovelas. They be hiring the more light-skinned Mexican actors than the dark-skinned Mexican actors.
Yeah,
that's true. It happens, and that's what really everyone's saying, Karma, is that you and I can walk into a job interview and everyone just sees white skin.
I understand that, but when you're in a group of people and you're the whitest person there, you're the butt end of the joke.
I think I think what you're saying is like,
you know that being in this country.
Yeah, I think what you're trying to say is like your shade should not mean anything when you walk into a group. Right?
Exactly.
Discrimination amongst
unfortunately, people suck. And
speaking of countries, though, Karma, where are you from? Because I'm here for this. Is it like
I'm from the UK in the northeast of England. That's where I'm from.
Yes, I'm here for this accent. Like I live for a non-American accent. Americans are boring, so I'm just here for it. Yes.
Okay.
Welcome to the party.
Also, I'm Sierra Content, by the way. Hey, Candy.
Oh, hey, Sierra Content. What's up? Hi.
Do you get it? Because it's like, Sierra's biggest song is like 1-2 Step. And she goes, the princess is here.
The princess is here. I love it. Yeah.
I love your channel, Candy. Like you be giving me the good keys throughout my work day. When I need the tea, I get it from Candy. I did want to touch on Nene, though. I know we're kind of bringing the conversation back a little bit, but I have a little bit of information about that because I'll be watching some of these other people on YouTube and they be having some tea too. And apparently, Nene had faced racism, like direct anti-Black racism from Bravo executives pretty much all throughout her time as a housewife. They constantly pegged her as the villain. They made her be the villain even when she didn't want to be. And she said that she had spoken up for years at, by the time, season 12, her last season. By that time, she had spoken up for years about how she wanted to be seen different on the show, but they continuously forced her to be the villain. And she was talking about how she had these different audio recordings of, I guess, racial epithets that the execs were saying. So, I mean, it's just a deeper case with Nene. And I do agree with y'all. Like, she kind of went off the wall with all of her tweets. All of her tweets. And it kind of minimized the point of what she was trying to do. But I definitely believe that she experienced racism.
Sierra, don't let Michelle in hear you say that.
What did you say?
What?
Don't let Michelle Alien hear you say that.
Oh. Well, no, I mean, Michelle, I live for Michelle. Michelle, she knows that I'm riding for Nene. But I don't agree with everything that Nene has done. Like, I mean, there's no way to agree with everyone on anything, but that's still my girl. That's still my girl. And I think that it would be a miracle if she came back to Bravo, but I hope it happens.
Yeah.
Even though she did experience racism there, I'm sorry, I just got to say this. Even though she did experience racism there, I could see why she would still want to come back, because it's almost like you're righting a wrong. And Bravo could simply acknowledge, oh yeah, we were a little anti-black to you. I mean, they probably would never do that, but
No, they wouldn't.
I don't know.
That would be them admitting, right?
You're right. They would admit it, which they wouldn't do. But
go back to what you're
I
saying.
don't think it's all Codswallop and crap that Nene was saying. I think that she was making some real points.
Yeah, I think.
I agree.
It's quite groundbreaking, really, as a black reality show. It really, really put the Housewives on the map to me.
It did.
On the map. Bravo became Bravo because of the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
That's what I believe.
And it was even the
True.
team was that Watch What Happens Live was Nene's idea that Andy Cohen took. I definitely believe that. She was like, oh, you should do an after show about the Housewives. And then that morphed into Watch What Happens Live. And I 100%
better job, definitely
believe that.
That's why you gotta keep your ideas to yourself sometimes. I will say this though, you were air content about that you love Nene, but you're able to kind of also see where like she went wrong. The fandom, my goodness, you cannot. They don't believe that people are dynamic human beings and can be a lot of things at once. But if you say one thing about one person, they go and you're just like, whoa, my gosh. I don't know the person, but I just see them as an entertainer. I'm not like, their cousin or anything. But like,
right.
Just because I said like, they were wrong for this does not mean that I'm a hater, does not mean anything like this. Please don't come for my dogs. Like, I have no idea.
Not the dogs. Oh, wow. I get where you're coming from, though. There are a lot of crazy people out there that live vicariously through their faves. And when you attack their faves, it feels like they feel like you're attacking them. Absolutely. So they got to keep that in check.
I wonder what I'd say if I said something about Clara.
Like Candice this season, the growth, the change in that woman has been phenomenal. And it just goes to show, people are multidimensional. They can change and grow and become better versions of themselves as well.
It's a dang TV show. You know what I mean?
And I will say this, for all of the housewives and the people that I talk about on my channel, the evilest fans are Kenya Moore's fans. And when I say that, I mean that. That dude, like Team Twirl, I don't know what they are smoking, but they need to calm down.
No,
Team Twirl is nuts.
They are the evilest. I had people emailing me hate emails. Yeah. People were in the comments.
Are you serious?
Like, you've gone too far. And
yes, I was like, crazy.
Whoa, cool. And I was like, you've gone too. They're like, you can have an opinion, but attacking Kenya, you've gone too far. Yeah. I was like, what are you talking about?
Or if you're like, hey,
it's like you can't say nothing about Kenya. Kenya is the goddess. That is it. She's untouchable.
Say like,
I've always liked Kenya.
I think there's a lot of mental illness within the twirls.
Oh no, we can't diagnose.
They were unhinged.
I can't.
Unhinged.
But
and all I said was that Kenya was wrong for going against Garcelle and saying she was playing the race card because she was trying to big up Erika and Kyle. And that's all I said. And like you said, people are multifaceted. We all have mistakes and we all have great things and nobody is perfect. People are out here idolizing people and they were like, you've gone too far. I was like, you guys are
that's crazy.
Another thing they do is
call Lisa Rinna, get a Xanax smoothie and calm down.
Got it.
I've noticed a lot of Kenya fans in the comments, they just say these off the wall things that just don't really relate to reality or like morality. Like they love when she's like vicious and evil. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's a good thing that she's a good character on the show, but y'all actually like that? Like, what if she was like that in real life? Real life is
not what nothing to do with that. She'd be sectioned.
Yeah, no, I the thing is, she might not be that. It's crazy that people will fight and argue with each other
over people who couldn't care less about them.
And I'm like, you don't even know that person. You don't even know what's on the other side of that. They're all you know, I can even be an AI. You know? What the hell?
Oh, I think there's an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bit of an echo.
There's one, isn't there?
But yeah, I'll be calling the Kenya fans the straight jackets because that's what some of them need.
They really do.
Period.
I did this a couple of years ago as a different profile and everything. And I used to go on another certain bloggers, and the amount of hate when I used to drag Kenya. And I used to drag them on purpose just to have them hating. It's so wild in chat. I just thought, right, the more you do it, the more I'm going to drag it. But I just did that for comedy factor. I mean, no harm to any of these women. I just do it for comedy, for kicks.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's just a fun kiki. Like, it's not that deep.
Yeah.
They act like these people are like paying their bills, or it's like their man or their woman or something. They take it too far. It's way too deep.
What is deep is the crimes that these people commit are how adjacent they are to, you know, committing that crime, i.e. Erika, Jen Shaw, Teresa.
It's like every franchise needs a crook.
Oh,
yeah,
Apollo and Pedro.
Have you seen the Carry On? Have you seen the Carry On with New Jersey?
Y'all are killing me.
Wait, what? Sorry, what?
Have you seen the Carry On with New Jersey? People taking pot shots at Melissa now.
This is the thing with New Jersey. I'm bored.
It's a snooze fest.
It's just rinse, wash, repeat. I don't want to see these 50-year-old women beefing about something that happened 25 years ago. I'm over it. I'm tired of Melissa. I'm tired of Teresa. I'm tired of Joe. I'm tired of narcissistic Louis. Like, I want fresh
Red Louis, surely.
Now, see, I wouldn't mind if Rosie came back and had her own little flavor of Rosie show, and she could just have all the girls lined up ready for her. Because y'all remember when Rosie was on the show?
Yeah, I like Rosie.
Yeah.
Rosie had me screaming.
Yeah.
What about
Rosie?
What about the woman where her face is pulled back a bit too tight and she's got fish lips? What do you call her? What's on the show? What do you call her name? She's got blonde hair. She's on New Jersey.
Dina?
Margaret.
No.
Margaret.
Margaret.
Yeah.
No, Pigtail Margaret. I can't stand
Yes, she's been pulled
I can't stand
too
her.
Tight.
She's messy as hell, and she's
You know
mean. I don't like
really-
mean people, and she's a mean person.
Yeah.
She's a bully. She bullied Siggy. Siggy was nuts, but I mean, you can't just bully a nuts person, otherwise they're going to become even more nuts.
Exactly.
Remember that when you're going after the team squirrel. You know what would be very you know what I would really love, and I was just thinking about this the other day, and would be very easy to watch and very fun to watch, is if the guys did like an ultimate guys trip with all the husbands.
Yeah.
Because they just get drunk and act stupid, and like, you know, there's no like, you know, real kind of arguments. I think that can be like kind of a really good like palate cleanser.
Can they put Aaron on from Beverly Hills?
I'd be here for that.
And can they just invite Bolo?
But only.
Where is Bolo? He has a story.
Bolo.
Married now, isn't he? He's married.
We can have him, but we only need the attractive husbands.
Yeah,
so Joe
Mauricio,
Gorga, he's out.
Mauricio Apollo.
Apollo.
Yes, he's my
We can have Mark. Mark can come back. I'll be here for that.
Lisa's husband, Lisa Milan's husband from Dubai.
Oh yeah, him.
Fine, and he looks like he'll break your back. Like he looks.
Ooh, Candy. I know that's right, girl.
He looks so cute. He's so hot.
Now we know what Candy's type is.
Even Cynthia Bailey's ex-husband. I think he's.
Oh yeah, Peter. Oh, are you talking about the other one?
Wait.
Mike Hill.
Oh, not Mike Hill. He's nothing but a scammer.
He's hot though.
I mean,
I think Mike only got with Cynthia to promote his book.
They definitely used each other because Cynthia was, you know, everyone knew she was boring. Nene said it and they got all mad, even though it was the truth. Her storyline was running out. She said, I need a new man, even if it's a fake man. I think the whole thing was fake. I think she took a page out of Kenya's book. Oh, let me get a fake man so I can stay on the show. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Because what does Cynthia have to offer? How the heck does Cynthia come back to the Real Housewives of Atlanta before Nene, Portia, or Phaedra?
I'm only going to allow it because she might bring Leon on, and I'm in love with Leon, quite frankly.
You like Leon?
Riley's dad. Oh my God, yeah.
He's so beautiful.
Oh wait, Riley's dad.
And everything. He's gorgeous. We love him.
Oh
wait, Riley's dad is Block.
Block?
Noel's dad. Noel's dad.
Oh, Noel. Yeah, Noel. Yeah, Leon's a handsome man. Mm. He's a working actor, unlike Kenya. Okay, let me stop.
Rinna is a working actress. The biggest lie that was ever told.
Y'all remember when she tried to compare herself to Kim Fields and said that they had the same career? Oh my gosh. That was crazy. That's when I knew that she was off her meds.
I was looking at the screen and I was just like, is she for real in the head?
No, she's not for real in the head.
That's why, what's her name? Aunt Lori said, I'm through with you, Kenya. I ain't filming with you. After you pulled that last stunt. Y'all notice Aunt Lori ain't been around.
Yeah. That's sad. Yeah.
Bloody Miss America once again at it. Delusion.
I think they still talk. I don't think she wants to be a part of the show because Kenya, she like pulled up to her mentally ill mother's house and had the film crew out there to film a scene with her mom who she didn't have a relationship with. Do y'all think that was wrong or right?
That was wrong.
Wait, is the mother mentally ill?
That's what Kenya says. She says that,
drugs, right? Or something? I don't know.
Well, the apple doesn't fall from the tree, doesn't it? Not Kenya?
I never heard that Kenya's mom was. I always thought Kenya's mom just felt so much like guilt and shame for getting pregnant so young that she just disassociated from Kenya as the child.
That's what
Oh no, Kenya's talked about how her mom's mentally ill. Like I remember even when she was trying to get like a donor and they had her mark, is there mental illness in the family? And she like laughs and goes, yes, referring to her mom.
But do you think that her mother really is mentally ill, or that was Kenya's way of giving her a dig?
I think giving her a dig.
That could be true.
I think it was her way of like lashing out. Now, this is the thing. This might be an unpopular opinion, but I think that it was wrong for Kenya to do that. Because as much as it might try and go against nature, where you're like, no, this is my mother, like she should want me, like I should have access to her. Unfortunately, as human beings, or maybe fortunately, we still have free will. There's adoption there for a reason. There's foster care for a reason. There are people who should be parents, and there are people who should not be parents for a reason. And at this point, Kenya is an adult. So she really does not have the right to force a relationship on anyone, even if that person is your biological mother.
The other thing about it is as well,
family doesn't mean that it's healthy. You know, there are people who are in your family who might be toxic family members. Should you force a relationship with them, or let them force a relationship on you when it's toxic and unhealthy? Like I always say, even serial killers have families. So just because somebody is your quote family doesn't mean that they are healthy. And nobody has the right to force any relationship on anybody else. So I think that Kenya was wrong. I think she was looking for a moment. Same thing with Ashley Darby and her father. You know, when she bum rushed him. I know it hurts, but that's why you got to go to therapy, work through your childhood trauma and your wounds, because at the end of the day, you are now grown women still saying mommy, mommy, daddy, daddy.
Yes.
Go on, Ayana, fix your life. You know what I mean? Let Ayana fix your life.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, it's not like Ashley didn't have a parent, and it's not like Kenya didn't have family around her raising her. And the other circumstances, you don't know how Kenya was conceived. It could have been by force. It could have been anything. No one knows the circumstances, and that's why she might not wanted it.
I don't think it was that, because she was taken in by her father's side of the family.
Yeah. Also, at some
point, I think they were just dating, and she got knocked up as like, you know, a teenager, and she didn't want to. Unfortunately, sometimes people will look down on that, and I think that she felt a lot of shame, and I think that's really what it was.
Also, I know people sort of process trauma differently and takes some people longer than others. But I do feel like when you're in your 50s or your 40s, really at this point, you should have actually made some way towards overcoming that childhood trauma.
Yeah.
And finding a way to cope and deal with it at that age. If you haven't, there's something terribly wrong. And like Marlo was pulling up her childhood trauma just to get away with stuff at the reunion, I felt like. She was another one. Yeah. Meanwhile, causing, throwing the kids out at the same time and then complaining it happened to her. So, I don't know. People are weird.
Well, also, I mean, people need to realize that you, as an adult, you fight your childhood battles, right? And so, unfortunately, in some places and in cases and whatever it may be, a therapy is not, a thing, or, is like frowned down upon, right? Because you had to be so strong your whole life that it would take everything in your soul and being to be vulnerable and to kind of say, hey, I need that attention. I long for that attention, right? And it's unfortunate that, sometimes people, you just can't get through to them because they don't want to be, they don't want to receive it, and
not everyone needs therapy though, because if you look at people like, say, soldiers going off to battle, the trauma of being in that theatre of war affects everyone differently. Some of them come away and it's like nothing ever happened to them, and then other people are really deeply traumatized and suffer terrible PTSD from the same thing. So I don't believe that everyone needs it, because I think some people can naturally process it themselves just by thinking on their own and totally. But
I think everybody needs some therapy.
I do too. I think
there's nothing wrong with getting therapy. It's healthy because you get stuck in a rut, and you change every time when you get older. You're supposed to change every 7 years. There is nothing wrong with having a clear out of what you think and how you're feeling. And do you know what it is? It's an actual strength to realize if you know you've got a weakness and you're going to justify it and work it out. That's a strength.
Definitely. But there's also a therapist, of a good therapist, there's also an objective point of view, right? And that you get to kind of like, oh shit, I never thought about it this way. And now I get to fortunately think about it, in a different way. Again, I'm not gonna, prescribe, I can't, therapy for everyone, but it's a good resource if you can, to utilize to kind of get yourself out of being that little you and being into the adult you that, you can do all these great things with. But yeah. And I think Kenya you can't get through to Kenya.
I don't think some people can do that just because they've got like a nice auntie they can talk to or a good friend or something.
That's very biased, right? Because they're always going to look at you and want to, like, kind of sometimes won't want to tell you the truth because they want to protect you. And maybe you do. And I mean, I go to therapy and I have family that I can talk to about different people about different things. I'm very fortunate in that aspect, right?
Don't get me wrong, I've done a lot of therapy in my life, but yeah, I just don't think everyone needs it.
And that's okay.
I think everyone needs it for different things. And therapy isn't always for like a big crisis or something that happened or a huge trauma. Sometimes I think therapy is best just for maintenance, just to do a check-in, just to get some guidance and some help on just how to evolve and be the better and best version of yourself. Like maybe going to war doesn't traumatize me, but maybe the way my mother spoke to me did. Maybe my mother speaking to me didn't traumatize me, but the way my ex-boyfriend cheated on me did. So there's, for each person in each of our lives, because we are human beings and because we have minds and we have psyches, some way, somehow, you do have some form of trauma that you're going to need to process, that you will always be helped more if you process it with someone who has an objective point of view, i.e. not auntie or sister, because they may mean well, but they are not objective. They have a history with you. They have their own story with you. They have their own perspective with you. So I think it's always really important to talk to someone who is not tied to you, where it's their job, they're being a third party and they're objective, and they've been taught the tools and the resources to help you. And it doesn't have to be that you've gone through something horrible. It could just be like, hey, you know what, maybe I just want to work on my communication skills. Hey, maybe
to me that's not therapy. I would call that mentoring or
is
coaching.
there something going on? But people can call it whatever they want. You can say, I'm going to a therapist, I'm going to a life coach, I'm going to a spiritual advisor, I'm going to a mindset person. You can put whatever name on it you want. It's just getting additional support to become the best evolved person you are. It's no different than saying, oh, you know what? I want to start a hobby of painting. I'm going to go to a painting class, or I'm going to get private lessons. It's just whatever skill you want to finesse or refine, just getting support from someone who's an expert in it. And I think we could all do that. If I wanted to go out and, I don't know, learn how to play the piano, I might get a piano coach.
Sure.
I could see that, but I could also see transversely how people might feel, oh, you're just getting paid to give me this stuff. You might not even really care at the end of the day. And I think that's what some broken people really need.
Yeah, that's a trauma response, being like, you don't care about me, you just want to get paid. That in and of itself means you really need some therapy. Also, you really need low self-esteem.
I also tell people they need to date their therapists, and what that means is like you have like a consultation with one, like plenty, right? And then you understand that one that fits with you. And sometimes you are with the therapist for, let's say, like a year, and then you've grown exponentially, and you're like, oh, this person does not do it for me anymore. I need to find somebody else that can help me get to the next level. So it's very kind of, it's not like you go visit once and this person's going to be the one for you, and then your problems are solved. It's a whole entire process, right? I can go to a trainer and be like, hey, I really want to get flexible, and I'm very flexible, but now I have zero strength, and so I go to another person, So I think it's just really, it's a whole journey, right? And I think I never push it. I think it's just, for me, it's been beneficial. I'm also have the luxury of being able to afford one, and I think, I think if they were to put some of these housewives on Therapy Island, it would be very interesting to see which ones would come out a little different and which ones will say exactly the same.
There's also lots of different types of therapy. Sometimes I suppose one type is okay for the time being, and then you need to move on and change up to a different style of therapy sometimes. I know for me that was true, that counselling only worked so far, and then it needed to be something else because I had quite extensive childhood trauma. And it took probably 15 years to work through it, and probably several types of therapy. It wasn't all the same.
Yeah, the mind, it's like any other part of our body. It's like if I hurt my tooth, I'm not going to go to a podiatrist. I'm going to go to the dentist, and they're going to specialize in helping my teeth. If I hurt my foot, then I'm going to go to the podiatrist or whatever it is. The mind is the same way. It has so many different psyches and dynamics and dimensions that, for one therapist or whatever it may be, can help you with this type of issue that you're dealing with, while another therapist or a psychotherapist or analyst or whatever may have a specialty in whatever. That's why you have some people who do like couples therapy, or they do they're a child therapist, or they are a trauma therapist, right? Because it's not just one thing that our mind deals with. There's so many facets and components to it,
And also bad therapy. I've had bad therapy where it's made the situation worse as well. So you have to be really careful who you're dealing with as well. I forget who said it, but you do need to almost interview your therapist to some extent before you decide if it's the right.
That's like anything, right? You can get like a very bad, primary care physician. You know what I mean? You can get like, you just, unfortunately, there are going to be anybody in any kind of service that are in it for the money, and there's going to be people that really care about what they do and how they do it, and nurture their patients, and it's just like up to you to kind of figure out what works best for you. And then when you find what works best for you, you go through that, and then you look for other people that are that now what you need.
That's right. I mean, a lot of my therapy came through our National Health Service, so I actually didn't have to pay for it myself. But that did mean,
I know,
well, it isn't, because it did mean that I was at the whim of who I ended up with, so like you get who you get. There is no choice. So you work with that person for the set amount of time, whether you're working well with them or not. So although it's brilliant on one hand, if you get someone who's not suitable for you or the situation's making it worse, it can be a bit detrimental. I wish I'd, because it's quite expensive here. It's about £70 an hour. I don't know what it is there, but roughly.
It's about the same. £70 I think translates to like what, 160
like
USD? 150? Yeah, or something. Yeah.
So yeah, it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but it is well worth doing. And I have paid for it myself as well. But a lot of it has come through the NHS. And I've been quite lucky, and I know I have for that. So I'm grateful, even though some of it was horrendous.
The people who don't know what the NHS is, it's supported by the taxpayer and the government, so it's free healthcare in the UK. That's what it's about.
Can I switch gears a little bit?
Yeah.
Sarah and Karma, what do you think about Harry?
Okay.
I was in this conversation last night, and oh god, no one was open and willing to listen, and they said I was laughing at them. I was nervous as hell because of the abuse I was getting.
Oh.
I think they poor pair of grifters. It's come out and they've said no one was racist. They didn't say that. So what was the interview all about?
Yeah.
And this is what I mean. It's like it's so dangerous to use that word around when there are actual people dealing with that situation, with real racism and what's going on, even microaggressions, what's actually happening in real lives. They knew what they were doing. They jumped on that bandwagon just to make money, and that's what they're about. They don't give a damn as long as they're making money. It's embarrassing.
I mean, my problem with you brought up the racism thing. My problem is that Harry has really shown himself to have really poor judgment in terms of some of the things he's done over the years. I mean, and then he doesn't take responsibility for it, which is unforgivable to me. So, for instance, a few years ago, when he was about 20, he was invited to a costume party and he dressed up as a Nazi officer. Incredibly poor taste. And apparently in his book, he blames William and Kate for that. But he was an adult choosing his own costume, even if they agreed to it. At some point, you've got to say, I put that on, it was a mistake. Not blame it on your brother and sister-in-law. That's where I have a problem. A lot of what he says comes off as maybe... No, I'm not going to say not true, but I think it's kind of exaggerated. And I feel like people are judging the British public when actually the British public really took Meghan to their hearts when she came.
We did. It was crazy.
We were all really excited here, and we were really excited about having some diversity as well in the royal family, because it's been a while since we've had that. And I think there was a real sense of celebration and excitement about it all. And I think people are disappointed, but I think it was, it was the gutter press who made up the horrible stories, but they do that about everyone. Kate's getting it now. Nobody is safe in that family from gutter press.
Well, she got it before she even married William. They were
yes, she did.
Pictures of her naked on a board, calling her weighty Katie and all sorts.
Yeah, no one's
the
safe.
British press is a monster. Even the Spice Girls. I know I'm not British, but I'll be following the British people. Even like Melby from the Spice Girls said, America, that just tell you to keep going for it. Whereas, the British press will just tell you, to tell you down.
Well, it's a certain section of the British press. A lot of the British press is actually really good,
it's
but
like
there's
the low
gutter press.
It's the good press. It's because you got certain papers, not all of them are the same. This is what you call like the Sun. I think you've got it in America. Then that's what we call gutter press.
Oh, got it. Yeah. What I don't understand is and maybe I'm being insensitive, but I think he's just like a whiny person, right?
Yeah.
This person has it made,
rich, privileged kid who's
and why do I even know that he had frostbite on his penis?
We don't want to know that stuff.
I don't even want to know how he lost his virginity in the back of in a field of the back of a pub with an old woman just spanked him on the ass and sent him on his way. Like, why do we need to know?
And then he's going to whine about he's got to pay for his own security at the same time as writing about offing 25 people in Afghanistan who may or may not have been civilians and looking at them as chess pieces. I mean, clearly that's going to cause some security issues, I would imagine, for him.
And
So
people
saying,
on stage and have mental health issues, saying that about 25 people and calling them chess pieces, like there's got to be something messed up in his head. You don't call people chess pieces, especially when it comes to war.
He wasn't sure they were combatants even. That was the point. And like, really, you don't do that when you've been in the military, you know, hand out your body count and stuff like that. It's just all inappropriate, all of it. And I feel like Meghan had I think there was an expectation gap of what she thought a princess actually is and what it really is. And in fact, the royal family work incredibly hard. They have about 2 days off a year. And they do get privileges for that. They get really nice homes. They get, you know, they don't get a lot of money, but they get the security and they do get a life of, you know, quite some privilege. But they're working bloody hard for the country. And if they're not, they don't get the security and they don't get all the other advantages. And I think Meghan thought she was coming in as a Disney princess and not a real one. Diana never took a day off. That woman worked endlessly. And Princess Anne is one of the hardest working people in the country. The late Queen only ever had 2 days off a year.
Put it this way, I would not want to be a royal. I would not want the money because you don't get much money for what you do. And I wouldn't want to be a royal. I feel sorry for them, if anything. But that's the price they're paying to do what they do.
And I'm not a particular royalist, by the way, either. I'm saying this. I'm not massively... You know, I'm not a fan of the royal family particularly because, you know, I'm married to an African man. It's, you know, it's problematic. But, you know, you have to be realistic about how things really are in the real world. And I don't think she was. I think she came in thinking she was going to be.
It was some kind of concept what wasn't realistic for her. And she didn't like the work and she didn't want to do it anymore. But she was used to that being in Hollywood. It's like making money.
Probably culture shock, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's just so many. I mean, we forget that Europe is, you know, way older than, you know, America, right? Like the United States. There's some people in the chat that really like Harry and Meghan, and someone said, I wish people would just leave them alone. And it's like, how can you when they're doing all these things on Netflix?
Everyone would be happy to leave them alone for them to live their private life, but they keep putting stuff out there to draw attention to themselves. So we're forced to give them attention. We don't have any choice. My point of view, anyway.
I think I like Meghan and I like Harry, but I think right now they're doing the most.
Yeah.
Like, we got it. You know, I think Meghan forgot she was Black. I think she thought that because she was half white and, like she said, she was passing and she had a certain level of fame and had certain friends and had money. I think that she thought that superseded her Blackness. And then she got a reality check that, no, sweetheart, you're still Black. And I think Prince Harry probably didn't realize that what racism really is and how it still exists today because he never actually had to deal with it. He is a white prince. So
imagine the impact of Meghan.
Like some people who just don't get it because it doesn't affect them. They think, oh, it's something that doesn't happen, or because we have privilege, because we have wealth, because we have fame, it won't affect us. But unfortunately, things like that supersedes all of that. And I think she got a reality check real quick. And I do think that she thought being a princess was going to be different than what it was, you know? And it's not that I dislike either of them, because I don't. I like Meghan, I like Harry. But I'm also kind of just like, okay, you're saying all these bad things happen to you, but what are you going to do about it to pay it forward? You can't just whine about all of the injustices you've gone through, even though you still have millions and millions of dollars. You're still best friends with Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey. You have podcasts, you have books, you have Netflix series, you have access to everything in this world. Are you starting a charity to teach people about racism? Are you starting I don't know, like, are you giving back? Like, what are you doing to rectify the situation that you're making millions and millions of dollars milking? And that's really the issue I have with Harry and Meghan, but I don't have an issue with them individually. I think they're a cute little couple.
You're getting an award for saying about standing up for racism, what happened in the royal family. Now they've turned around in the papers and said they never said there was any racism.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Weren't racist on the whole, I would say, because everyone I know was really excited about it all. It was some elements in the press and some celebrity sort of people on TV, like Piers Morgan, that stupid Danny Baker, who's a nobody, but he's the horrible one. He's the one who did the picture of the chimpanzee when the baby was born. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's disgusting.
He's a comic, and he's not a very good one at that. He's a nobody. He's a has-been. He was on TV about 20 years ago. And, you know, it was a few people who did some really obnoxious things. I mean, I hate Piers Morgan. He's just vile on every level. And it's like that who ruined it. Actually, the people themselves, on the whole, everyone I spoke to was really positive about them. But now, not so much, because people are fed up of listening to rich, privileged people whinging and moaning when they've got the world on a plate.
We struggle paying our bills and keeping a roof over our heads. They're complaining that daddy won't pay for our security, even though they've got millions in the bank. They don't help themselves by writing these books. You know what I mean?
I have an unpopular opinion.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Prince William is so much more handsome than Prince William. I don't care that he's bald-headed, and I don't care his teeth are big and he has a strong jaw. There's something so manly about him that I'm like, oh my gosh,
really?
Yeah,
I do.
Yeah.
I actually don't really like him and Kate very much. I much prefer Harry and Meghan on a sort of personal level. I've never warmed to William and Kate at all. But
I don't know, I quite like Kate when I've seen her, and when she's going around doing stuff, she actually listens to them and talks. Ages.
All good looking, all of them, you know.
Yeah,
Meghan Markle is gorgeous, you know. But I think Prince, I don't know, Prince William does it for me. I don't know.
He does it for you. Okay, well, we'll make sure he gets your number just in case, you know.
You know, I don't know.
That way, Sarah.
Listen, I have an ego. I'm no princess. I'm a queen. Okay, so we can't.
Yes.
What does Sierra think about it? Is Sierra gone? Where's Sierra?
Have we lost
him? They're there. Let them. They'll pop in when they want and stuff like that. It's fine. But it came out on Radar Online that Crystal is coming back, and that she is bringing one of her friends from the infamous group with her.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Exclusive details. So it says Lisa Rinna and Diana Jenkins are out of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but it looks like one of their spots has already been filled. Radar Online is hearing that Crystal Minkoff will be back for season 13, and she'll be bringing, quote, a pal from her infamous friend group with her. According to insiders, Crystal will return with a diamond. Producers are allegedly adding one of the friends from her 14 friends group to the mix. The unnamed woman will surely bring the drama, as she's one of the alleged 14 ladies who had a fallout with Crystal, which was a topic of conversation last season. As Radar Online exclusively reported, filming is set to begin toward the end of January, months after the women of 90210 were put on pause. Both the cast and the show's production team needed a break after an emotionally draining season 12. Crystal's return in the cast addition reportedly came from Andy Cohen himself, who was allegedly overheard chatting about the news. Allegedly, a certain Bravo host was heard saying that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills begins filming in a few weeks, and one of the new housewives is one of Crystal's 14 friends, seemingly confirming Crystal's return too. Queens of Bravo spilled on social media this week. We've reached out to Bravo and Crystal for comment. Dun, 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 dun.
Ooh, Candy.
I believe it, but this is the thing.
The chat
Crystal,
is going
you
wild.
bring it, girl. You better bring it.
Yep.
I just can't forget what happened last season, especially with Garcelle's child. That is a boy, and you do not go do that. And that text message, if it's true, It is sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely sick. Mauricio is just proven to me exactly what I always thought he was as a dickhead. And you just don't behave like that. And like I really felt for Garcelle, because if it was my kid, by God help them, they'd be running to the other side of the world. You know?
I think it's a consensus that Crystal needs to show up or get out
or ship out. Yeah.
Because I think she's cool, and I think she's like I would love to hang out with her, but on that show, I don't know.
Yeah, she needs to bring it. It's like off camera, she's doing these little videos where it's like her and her friends, and she's doing these beautiful brunches, and they're drinking and they're having fun, and it's all decadent. And I'm like, where the hell is this on the show? Like, this is what I want to see. I don't want to see mopey Crystal in the corner looking all like she just ate something sour and lying on Sutton and just being a pygmy. Like, that's not it, Crystal. I want to see you being that Beverly Hills housewife. You're married to Rhobh, who has that Disney money. You have these friends of like ladies who lunches. That's what I want to see. What are you buying? And she also needs to up her fashion game. Like, she's kind of little womp. You and your ugly leather pants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want
the videos. She's actually funny. She's actually funny on her Insta videos. I'm like, shouldn't this be on Beverly Hills instead?
Yeah, she needs to bring her personality and a point. Like, at the very end, we saw the real Crystal when she stopped being a pygmy and actually had a point of view and an opinion and started standing up for herself and saying things. That's when I was like, okay, Crystal, like, now I see why you're here. That's what you need to do. But sitting in the corner and moping and being a pygmy is not going to give us housewife. So Crystal needs to bring it. She needs to have that decadence. She needs to be the lady who lunches. We need to see her spending that Disney money. We need to see all of that. But if she is still the pygmy, then she can go, and I bet you will like her friend better than we like her.
Probably, but she better get in arguments and really confront the friend if that's what's going to be. If they fell out, they need to really talk about it and be honest about it, and not like one scene where they go to lunch and be like, oh my God, why did we even get in a fight? Oh my God, we're friends again. You know what I mean? Like, Crystal, this is your chance. Draw this shit out. You know what I mean?
This is the season, and if she doesn't complete it, she's gone. Because how many more seasons do you need to come out each shell? We have someone like that called Robin, and finally she started making her moves after how many seasons?
Yeah, and Robin can go. We don't need funky, stale Robin. She should have been gone.
And it's the same with Dorit. What does Dorit bring? Nothing. She needs to go.
I just want to see her with the Mauricio rumor. Like, that's it. Other than that, Dorit can leave. But I don't know why, but in my soul, I want to see on camera Dorit and Mauricio deny this rumor. I have to see it.
I want Camille back, and I want LVP back, and then we'll see a different show happening. Because they're the ones what bring it, and they do. Camille is a firecracker. She will say what she wants to say, and that's it. And she don't care.
I love Camille. Who is going to be carrying Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? That's a good question. Who do we think is going to carry the show now?
Kathy Hilton, duh.
Kathy. It's Kathy, and the two princesses is Sutton and Garcelle, aren't they?
Yeah, I think it'll be good because I think it'll be fresh again. Even though they're not fresh faces, they have a fresher energy. They laugh and they have fun, and it's actual friends rather than watching alliances. That's another thing that's really killing the franchises.
Yes,
where you see people who they're not actually friends, but they're having each other's back simply to have an alliance. And
it's like a form of wolves, and they pick the weakest one out and rip the weakest one apart just so they can stay in the pack. And it's disgusting to watch. They won't let others show their light, and they just pull them, a bit like what they've done with Wendy. You know what I mean?
I think Garcelle will. Yeah, Garcelle is. By the way, speaking of Garcelle, her new hair color, I love it. I'm like, whoa.
Do you think it's for a role? I think she probably booked a TV show or a movie, and I bet you the character has to have that red hair, and she's killing it. That's what I think.
So, like,
I've noticed as well, Garcelle looks like she's losing weight as well.
Well, Garcelle's beautiful regardless. Like,
Yeah.
Don't get us wrong. It looks like she's actually losing weight as well when I'm looking at her latest photos.
She's so gorgeous.
She is gorgeous. That cute little face of hers. Is Dallas coming back? I don't think so.
I think it's shelved for now, but
yeah, I think it's still on pause.
I'd like to say Nashville. I'd like to see that.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Nashville's fun.
It could be fun.
I mean, but here's the thing about those things. Like Salt Lake City, there's only like, what is it, Park City? That is like the funnest place. Like you know, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that true? Same thing with Nashville. It's like very tiny. And where else would you go in Tennessee? Like, you know, you have like one strip of what, like restaurants and clubs, like, and then where else will you film? Like at each other's houses?
Come on, you can get little cameos of Dolly Parton rocking up just out of nowhere. It's sorted.
Love us some Dolly.
I love Dolly. She's funny. But yeah, this has been going on quite a while. This chat.
Yeah, this has been fun, you guys.
He's definitely making up for this time.
Yeah, I had a good time. I'm actually going to head out.
Me too.
But this was fun.
I love you guys. Sarah Real Talk, thank you so much. I love you. You hold me down. Lord Karma, you know you're my homie. Tian, you are the best. I love your perspective and thank you for bringing it. And Sierra, girl, this life, dun, 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 level up, level up, level up.
Yes, Candy, level up.
Level up, level up, level up. That's my jam. That's my jam. Thank you so much for joining. And as always, my candy canes, I love you. Thank you for holding me down. All of the mods, all of the people in the chat who always come. I love you so much. So with that, you guys, we are going to go and have a beautiful Friday night. Be sure to, and don't forget, you guys, if you are into self-love, self-care, and wellness content, I also have those videos on my channel, so check them out. And then also be sure to check out the description box down below. We have courses, podcasts, newsletters, free guides, all of it. So definitely check out the description box and grab some goodies. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we go live, and share this with a friend because a kiki is always better with community. I love you guys and thank you so much for being my community, and I will see you next time. And watch out for Team Twirl. They will get you every time. Okay? I love you. Bye.
Welcome to Sugar Pills, a practical guide to self-care, where your host, writer, actor, and producer Candy Washington helps you live a more joyful life with a cheeky dash of pop culture news. Be sure to subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and join the conversation on Instagram @Candy Washington. Let's go.